The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and events have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, Jorge and Miguel are famous wrestlers who also happen to be twin brothers and little people. These two larger-than-life personalities give new meaning to the expression sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But when one night goes too far, Jorge and Miguel face the ultimate fight of their lives.
Abita! Necesito Abita!
Jorge and Miguel have been inseparable since birth. Unusually energetic, they grow up wrestling each other in their tiny, rundown home. Their father is not part of the equation, and their single mother has a tough time making ends meet. Without a television, they escape reality by listening to their older brother Guillermo's tales of the Mexican wrestling world. Guillermo is a pro wrestler who encourages his little brothers to join in on the fun. When they're teenagers, Guillermo sets the twins up with their first gig. They are billed as Los Gemelos Locos, the Crazy Twins. Jorge and Miguel are brash and wild, and at 4 foot 8 inches tall, ×2, they put on quite the show. In 1992, they adopt their adult wrestling identities, Hombre Salvaje and Cobra Voladora. And it doesn't take the tiny twins long to rise to the top of the Mexican wrestling scene.
Jorge and Miguel are rock stars in the Mexican wrestling world. But in all my years in the FBI, I've seen what can happen when fame puts you in a full Nelson. You can easily end up with 3 lifelong opponents: sex, drugs, and booze.
Over the next several years, the twins divorce their wives and deal with a different kind of wrestling. This time, the opponent is their growing alcohol and drug addictions.
Fiesta time, mi hermano! Yeah! Dude, that was a good fight!
After a big televised match against El Castigador, the twins are ready to celebrate. And for these boys, go big or go home isn't just a saying. It's a way of life.
In the short time that Fernando the bartender has been slinging drinks at El Cutre Hotel, he's seen his fair share of louts. But these two are especial.
Amigos, do you think you can keep it down a bit? Huh?
But when he asks them to tone it down, it falls on deaf ears.
Wrestlers. We kept the belt, man. Yeah, 2 years running. Tag team, come on. Come on. All right, come on, fill this up. Here we go. Oh, hi. Hey. Good.
How are you?
Do you ever take your mask off?
No. We leave these on all the time.
Sure, there's a certain thrill meeting strangers in a dark, dingy bar, but in my experience, it doesn't always have a happy ending. There was this case where a guy was gagged and bound to his bed with his junk duct taped so tight to his body that when the medics finally got it off, he wasn't ever able to, well, do it again. Stranger danger is what we like to say in the FBI.
The ladies make it known that they are prostitutes and that El Cutre Hotel is their office and place of business. And for a handful of pesos, will rock Jorge and Miguel's worlds. The twins and their newfound friends decide to take their cocktails up to the room for a nightcap, or guro de dormir, as they say in Mexico. But it doesn't take long before the party turns into a coke-fueled bender.
Just because Jorge and Miguel aren't able to actually receive the services that were agreed upon doesn't mean that these pros aren't getting paid, because that's how it works in this world.
The morning after, a cleaning woman from the hotel is doing her rounds and arrives at Jorge and Miguel's room. It's well after their checkout time. She tries to wake the twin wrestlers, but when they don't respond, she becomes concerned.
Pita! Necesito pita!
For such small guys, Jorge and Miguel ought to watch that voracious appetite of theirs. Everybody's got to pay the piper at some point.
Jorge and Miguel are twin wrestlers known as Hombre Salvaje and Cobra Voladora. They're also little people who defied their hard-knock upbringing and rose to the top of the Mexican wrestling world. But fame has its dark side, and they're on a downward spiral that almost always ends badly.
Cobra Voladora.
¿Quién?
The Flying Cobra.
I don't know who that is.
From the Crazy Twins. Los Gemelos Locos.
Once the police arrive on the scene, both Jorge and Miguel are officially declared deceased. The question the authorities immediately ask, was there foul play involved? But with no signs of forced entry and no signs of assault on the bodies, they can't ascertain the twin wrestlers' cause of death.
It's empty.
When police search the room, they discover the wrestlers have been robbed. The twins are celebrities in the Mexican wrestling world, and their hardcore partying is well known. Could they have been the target of a robbery gone wrong?
Can you fill us in on what happened?
I was just coming in to clean the room like I normally do, and I knocked on the door.
While they wait for the results from the autopsies on Jorge and Miguel, detectives question the cleaning woman who discovered Jorge and Miguel's dead bodies.
I just found these guys and they were dead.
I'm not surprised that they're grilling the cleaner. I mean, I do the same, because you wouldn't believe how many times that the person who finds the dead body is really the person who put it there.
But Guadalupe the maid has a solid alibi for the previous night. She was at the quinceañera of her 16-year-old niece. The police then turn their attention to the hotel staff working the night before. They're especially interested in a woman who was working at the front desk, Yolanda.
So who called you into the scene?
That was one of the housekeepers that I have on staff.
Yolanda tells the police that she remembers the men. Whoa, big surprise. Who wouldn't remember two guys with luchador masks in a bar? I mean, really.
She insists that she made no contact whatsoever with Jorge and Miguel. But she says that the bartender Fernando complained to her after his shift about these two obnoxious hombres pequeños who he'd like to smack around real bueno.
So, Fernando, you know why you're here.
The detectives move their focus to the bartender who served Jorge and Miguel the night before. They want to hear about their interaction and what it was about the brothers that rubbed him the wrong way.
Did you give them anything else besides alcohol?
No, nothing.
But when asked if he served anything other than alcohol to the little people, Fernando flies off the handle and gets very defensive.
Blame something for me I didn't do, okay? I didn't do anything. Nothing.
So here you've got this hot-headed hombre who was not only super pissed off with the little guys, but had access to what they were drinking all night, and now they're both dead with no visible signs of assault. And what the hell's Fernando thinking acting like this with the cops? Now they're gonna make him their suspect numero uno.
The twin wrestlers' autopsy results come in, and that's when the case goes from weird to bizarre. Los hombres pequeños have died from an overdose of tetrahydrozoline, HCI, more commonly known as eye drops. And the huge levels in their bodies can only mean one thing: they were poisoned.
The effects of tetrahydrozoline HCI when mixed with alcohol causes drowsiness, nausea, and amnesia. Kind of like what you'd find in a Rohypnol case, aka the date rape drug. Using tetrahydrozoline is a cheaper way of knocking someone out, but definitely not your typical murder weapon.
Toxicology reports confirm that for men of their size, death would only take 1 hour from when Jorge and Miguel consumed their drinks laced with the poison to when they died.
Turns out that everyone's favorite asshat bartender, Fernando, is no longer a suspect, because he left the building soon after the foursome went upstairs, and he wasn't at the crime scene within the timeline that the men were murdered. Too bad. I was starting to like him for this one, but that's the way investigation goes.
When detectives review past case files, they uncover several with a similar MO. Men who were drugged and robbed using tetrahydrozoline found in eye drops mixed with alcohol. But in these cases, there were never any fatalities. Detectives review the security footage from the hotel and isolate 2 mystery women seated with Jorge and Miguel. As far as the detectives know, they are the last people to have seen the twin wrestlers alive, which now makes them the prime suspects in the murder.
Okay, they're leaving. Wait, let me see if we can get her. There.
Their focus then turns to the women.
That's the first suspect.
Video security footage is one of the greatest things that ever happened to law enforcement. It's almost cheating. Solving a murder is still a major grind, but man, does it help when video is part of the evidence.
Second lady.
But without IDs for the 2 mystery women, detectives have no way of tracking them down. They release their sketches to other law enforcement agencies and the local media in hopes of turning up a lead.
Sure, the media can at times be a pain in the ass and actually hinder an investigation. But when you need to track a suspect down fast, the widest reach is your best bet and the media is your best friend. It's all hands on deck to find the 2 mysterious ladies of the night who took twin wrestlers Jorge and Miguel to their hotel room for a little R&R the night they were poisoned to death.
Jorge and Miguel are famous twin Mexican wrestlers, but they like to party a little too hard and never woke up from a wild night with 2 prostitutes. Autopsy reports showed they died from a lethal dose of tetrahydrozoline, also known as eye drops, mixed in alcohol. A massive search is now underway for the 2 women who were last seen with the twins the night they died.
In other news, the twin wrestling brothers known as Los Gemelos Locos were found dead today in their hotel room on the east side of downtown.
Mierda, what the hell did you do to them? ¿Qué hiciste? I did what we always do.
Persons of interest. Anyone with information is asked to contact local police.
Didn't you see that they were little people? How much did you put in there?
Why didn't you tell me?
Now the police is gonna come looking for us.
It doesn't take long for the partners in crime to start unraveling. Angela and Rosa decide to separate while they can, hoping to lessen the chances of getting caught. With only scant physical evidence and the police sketches to go on, the cops are at a loss for how to track down their prime suspects. But then Angela makes a major mistake that leads to her capture.
Free tip: when you drug your marks with the intent of robbing them, it's not a great move to later use one of their cell phones. Why not just buy yourself your own burner with the money you just stole, right?
Angela is immediately traced, ID'd, and brought into custody.
Can you tell us what happened?
I didn't mean for anything to happen. We just met the man and we wanted to party.
Have you guys robbed people before?
The police grill her, trying to connect her to last year's string of arrests.
Have you done this before?
I didn't want to hurt those men. They were nice men.
Angela admits that she isn't a prostitute. Never has been. She makes her living drugging men with eye drops, and once unconscious, she robs them. She's been at it for years. The dynamic duo are actually part of an all-girl gang in Mexico called Las Damas that specializes in posing as pros, baiting men to their hotel rooms, drugging them, and robbing them blind.
Can you tell me who this person is?
This is Rosa. If anything happened to those men, it wasn't me. It was Rosa.
Not only does Angela tell the police where to find Rosa, but she claims that Rosa is actually the brains behind the whole operation, and that she had nothing to do with it. She didn't poison them. Kingpin Rosa did.
She has done this before. I know this.
I can't tell you the amount of times we got someone to flip while they're in custody at the FBI. A little bit of mind games with some carefully placed pressure, more often than not gets the person talking. Friends until the end, right? Not really. The police have got to get to Rosa before she flies the coop, or possibly moves on to her next John.
Celebrity twin wrestlers Jorge and Miguel partied with the wrong women one fateful night. Turns out Angela and Rosa are part of a gang of women that pose as prostitutes, then drug and rob unsuspecting men. The police have Angela in custody and an APB out for her partner Rosa.
Where can we find her?
In an old apartment on the east side.
The detectives break Angela, and she reveals where Rosa can be found. Police track down Rosa holed up in a flea-bag motel on the outskirts of town. She's promptly arrested and brought in for questioning.
I poisoned somebody? No. That did not happen.
She said that you two were accomplices and you were the mastermind behind it.
Angela, she's the one. If those people were poisoned, maybe she did that? I didn't know nothing about that.
Shocking, I know. But Rosa doesn't agree with Angela's assessment that she's the mastermind. Not surprisingly, she claims that Angela's the real leader and that she was just doing what she was told.
She's the one who has been planning these things all along, okay?
Despite both women accusing the other of the crime, they worked as a team, carrying out the poisoning and the robbery together.
Look at that, Ronnie! Oh, here we go.
Salud, amigo.
The thing is, Mexican eye drops are a lot more potent than American ones. Go figure. I guess they have a more relaxed FDA type situation. Now, a dosage of around 10 milliliters is enough to knock out an average-sized guy, but the same amount applied to, let's say, a 4'8" individual would be fatal. When Angela and Rosa drugged the little wrestlers, they weren't planning on killing them, just knocking them out.
Even though they didn't intend to kill Jorge and Miguel, Angela and Rosa are arrested for murder.
And if you knew how much to give them, we wouldn't be here right now.
The duo are sentenced to 55 years in prison for the murders of Jorge and Miguel. Twin wrestlers also known as Hombre Salvaje and Cobra Voladora.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get with a prostitute. It's illegal, and you could go to jail. That's if you're lucky, because as we just saw, you could get drugged and robbed. or even poisoned and die like a scumbag in a sleazy hotel room that smells bad and has bed bugs.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. Miss Cece, fortune teller extraordinaire.
Spirits, come to me, please.
She's progressed from working in the local laundromat
The lover's card.
to being the most sought-after mystic in town.
Last reveal. It's the death card.
But when Miss Cece and her daughter become the victims of a vicious attack in their own home, detectives must decipher a bizarre clue that weaves superstition and brutality in equal parts. Miss Cece, the best fortune teller in town, attracts clients from all over the country. Her services, palm readings and casting spells, don't come cheap. She charges up to $12,000 cash, which she stashes around her home. She flaunts her wealth, driving expensive cars and shopping for extravagant jewelry. And while some people in the community resent Miss Cece, in times of need, they rely on her to rewrite their fates and change the course of their lives.
The people in the community have placed great trust in Miss Cece. They may not like her, but they need her. And if there's one thing I've learned in my 25 years with the FBI, it's this. The pedestal that she has been put on doesn't come without peril. No pedestal does. To whom much has been given, much is expected.
The cost of flaunting her wealth finally catches up with Miss Cece and hits her where it hurts. The robbers make off with $75,000 in cash, but they don't like tea.
Dealing in cash and defrauding the government works just fine and dandy until it doesn't. Everyone and their uncle knows Miss Cece hoards her money in her home, so it doesn't take two geniuses to know they could get away with a big boatload of cash.
The thieves are eventually caught, but without enough evidence to prosecute, they're released. Miss Cece has the locks changed and installs a security system in her home.
Oh, there's so much to tell you, Miss
Really?
Cece.
She now only sees clients that she knows. One of those clients is Tracy. And she's in a pickle.
Close your eyes and hold my hands. Let's gather our energy so all the spirits will come to us.
The mother of 3 children and the owner of a fashion boutique, Tracy is a busy entrepreneur with a flourishing side business. Her husband's brother, Lay. Tracy has been having an illicit affair with Lay for over 2 years, even though he lives thousands of miles away in Richmond, Virginia.
It always strikes me as odd when people look within their own family to cheat. And I don't know, maybe it makes it easier. Certainly it's going to make the family gatherings a little more interesting.
Now, what is it that you want me to help you with today?
Well, you know, Lay, the guy I've been seeing?
Yes.
I'm getting mixed signals from him.
Tracy trusts Miss Cece implicitly and doesn't make a move without consulting her.
He doesn't want to see me anymore. I think he's falling out of love with me.
So when her brother-in-law breaks off the affair, Miss Cece is the first person she sees.
I was wondering if you could put a love spell on him.
If I do cast a spell, it's very expensive.
Spells and hocus pocus may sound pretty out there, but people who are superstitious can have unwavering faith in fortune tellers.
Will this suffice?
Thank you.
One of the things you quickly learn as an investigator is to look at a person's actions in the context of their beliefs.
Please join Tracy and Lay together for eternal love.
And when you do that, seemingly random actions suddenly have a lot of meaning.
It's the death card. You know what that means? There's something in your life that you have to end right now.
Well, I have been thinking of divorcing my husband.
That's it. That's it. That's what the death represents, that you must divorce your husband.
So it's settled. It's all in the cards.
It is.
Impulsive behavior like that can be a real good indicator that a person's decision-making ability is, what's the word, skewed.
Happy and relieved, Tracy packs up her belongings and her kids and says, "See you later" to her husband. With another satisfied client under her belt, Miss Cece pockets the $5,000 fee and gets back to doing what she does best, shopping.
It looks like Miss Cece didn't learn her lesson about flaunting her money. Remember that time she was robbed at gunpoint? It's almost like she's daring someone to come and steal from her again.
Honey, you don't have to worry about the budget.
Miss Cece's daughter, Alice,
But you promised me to have doves for the wedding.
and her fiancé, Chen, have been fighting over the plans for their wedding.
No doves, no wedding.
She wants the big princess wedding, and he wants something small and tasteful.
Jen and I are fighting again.
About what?
She retreats to her mother's house for some tender, loving care.
Do you want your favorite cup of tea?
Please.
Chamomile? Okay, I'm gonna do it right now for you.
In an attempt to win her back, Chen bakes Alice vanilla cupcakes with sparkles, her favorite, and attaches a love note. The next day, when Chen still hasn't heard from Alice, he arrives on her mother's doorstep. When he finds his thoughtful treat untouched, he gets worried and calls the police. When the police enter the house, they find Miss Cece and her daughter Alice lying in a pool of blood, and they've been brutally and fatally stabbed.
This is Detective Lee. Request for backup. Apparent double homicide.
Women killed in their own home are tragically not all that rare, but throw in a dead mystic and a superstitious culture, and you got yourself a uniquely bizarre mystery.
When detectives examine the crime scene, they discover Miss Cece kneeling in the kitchen. Her body configured into a subservient bow. Her hands and fingers have been manipulated into obscene gestures. Alice has puncture wounds on her body, head, and hands. They've both been stabbed multiple times.
When a killer manipulates the body and poses the victim, you can always read something about the killer from it. In this case, because the victim is bowing and giving the big F-U with her finger, means likely that the killer is mocking the victim. It's a humiliating position, so you can assume that the murderer isn't a BFF.
Next to Miss Cece, detectives find a bloody knife and another on the floor closer to Alice.
A stabbing is a very upfront and personal way of killing. You're in their faces, you're literally causing them pain while watching the life drain out of their eyes. A gun is easier, a gun is tidier, but a knife means I want you to suffer, I want to see your fear, and I want to watch.
When detectives take a closer look at the victims, they get a frightening shock.
In 25 years, I can honestly say I have never seen a victim whose face has been painted white. There's a number of things that painting the face white could symbolize. It could be a ritualistic cult thing, it could be a cultural symbol of some kind, or simply have been done to hide evidence and compromise the crime scene.
When investigators search the house, they discover it's been ransacked from top to bottom. Miss Cece's credit cards, cell phone, and jewelry are missing, suggesting robbery as a motive.
So this is obviously a robbery, but that's not all it is. I mean, you've got to account for the way the victims were murdered and the fact that these killers took time to paint their victims' faces and hands, as well as position them. It can be difficult to unlock the meaning behind this type of symbolism because it can be so personal to the killer. The challenge for an investigator is not to get too focused on any one unusual detail that they don't follow up on other leads. And the fact that there was a robbery on top of all this intricate posing, that's a lead in and of itself.
Police also find a small bloody footprint on a tea towel on the floor.
For all you detectives in training out there, listen up. Here's what's good and bad about a footprint. Good point is, if you catch the killer, then you can match the print to the foot. But here's the bad part. We don't keep records of footprints. So you have to catch the killer first. And the footprint won't lead you to him.
Just tell me about this fight that you and Alice had.
It's, it was stupid.
Detectives immediately set their sights on Chen, the boyfriend.
Every time we fight, we find a way to make up.
Where were you on the day that she got murdered?
I was working that day. You can ask my boss. We had this project.
When they check his alibi, it's airtight. But he does drop a tiny nugget of hope in the detective's lap.
There was a handyman. He had access to the house. Look at the handyman.
Detectives find the handyman clearing out his tools in Miss Cece's garage and immediately bring him in.
Mind if you show me your hands?
My hands?
Yeah, hold them up, please.
So this guy goes to the top of the suspect list. White paint at the crime scene, white paint on that guy's hands. Check.
What did you have against Miss Cece?
Miss Cece, nothing.
They're sure they have their man, but when they test the paint from the handyman, it doesn't match the paint used in the crime.
I work almost every week for her. She's a lovely lady.
And when his alibi checks out, he's released. As they exhaust all leads, detectives turn to Miss Cece's own community for help. A neighbor reports seeing a man and a woman visiting the house on the day of the murder and gives a detailed description of the pair.
It's no secret Miss Cece angered a lot of people with her flashy ways, but as distasteful as they found her nouveau riche attitude, they needed her. Her followers truly believe she could help direct their lives in a positive way. So why would somebody bite the hand that feeds them?
Investigators get no tips after releasing the drawings of the mysterious man and woman to the public. And with no suspects on the horizon, the case goes cold. Until a surprising discovery heats things up again. Investigators discover phone calls being made from the victim's phone.
So either Miss Cece has come back from the dead and is making calls, which in my experience is rare, or the killer has just made their first mistake.
Detectives discover that not only do phone calls appear on Miss Cece's cell phone, but purchases are being made on her credit card. Clothes, electronics, and meals at expensive restaurants, totaling a whopping $63,000. The detective checks store surveillance cameras and hit pay dirt when they see a woman with a strong resemblance to the sketch of the supposed killer ringing up a large bill.
Okay, let's stop here for a minute just to enjoy this. Just moments before, investigators had no clue who the murderer was. The killer was likely going to get away with it. And then this woman decides not only to use the dead woman's phone, but hey, while we're at it, let's charge thousands of dollars to her credit card.
Police discover that Miss Cece's credit card was also used to purchase 4 plane tickets. But this time, our mystery woman isn't so careful. Turns out she's none other than Miss Cece's best client, Tracy. Tracy is put under surveillance, and following yet another shopping spree courtesy of Miss Cece's stolen credit cards, police confront her. They find $4,000 in cash, as well as ID and credit cards belonging to Miss Cece. When questioned, Tracy can't get her story straight. They arrest her and bring her down to the station. While Tracy is in custody, police search her apartment in Virginia and find missing items from Miss Cece's house, along with a bizarre calendar entry. Brutal act written on the day of the murder.
It's like she left little breadcrumbs for the police so they could follow her into the woods. Just in case you had any doubt it was me, here's another little crumb for you, and another, and whoops, here's another.
The big break in the case comes when they find a boarding pass for a flight leaving Chicago. The boarding pass is dated one day after the murder, but the name on the pass isn't Tracy's. It's a name detectives haven't heard before, Roger Wang. Detectives learn Roger is a married father of 5 who lives in the same town as Tracy. Roger's wife worked at Tracy's boutique, and the two families became friends.
So why are you in the area?
I was not in the area. I was not even there.
Roger is brought in for questioning.
Well, we have people saying that they saw you and Tracy walking around the area.
Oh, well, yeah, Tracy told me about she's a great fortune teller.
Where he tries to explain what he was doing in Chicago at the time of the murder.
Your DNA is scattered around Miss Cece's shop.
Well, I was...
Worn down by police, he finally starts talking and confesses to the murders.
We're there to rob her, and when we got there, Tracy, she went crazy.
But names Tracy as the mastermind.
What did Tracy have over this guy that he would give up his whole life to help her? I mean, think about it. He doesn't even know Miss Cece, but he agrees to fly across the country with Tracy to murder her in cold blood. I mean, she must have had an immense amount of control over him. The question is, why?
DNA from the knives links Roger to the crime, but there's little forensic evidence against Tracy.
So why'd you kill her?
Detectives confront her with Roger's allegations.
I didn't kill her.
Tracy claims she was never at Miss Cece's house and that Roger did the deed all by himself.
Okay, this is a tough spot to be in if you're an investigator. You really want her to confess because you don't have any physical evidence against her yet, and the DA is going to want things like that from you to ensure a conviction.
Where's your proof?
But the problem is this killer is so smug, they're never gonna give you one.
Well, we do have a neighbor that's given us a pretty detailed description of 2 people entering her place.
Detectives try and break her by telling her Miss Cece's neighbor saw Roger and Tracy enter the house that day. And this time, they take her prints, hands, and feet. Tracy's footprint matches the footprint left on the bloody tea towel found at the crime scene, and she's charged with first-degree murder.
Shoes off.
If I were a criminal, my first rule would be, don't wear high heels to a murder. The second rule would be, don't take them off. But hey, I'm no criminal, and I prefer wedges to heels.
You gotta give me a deal here because I can tell you everything.
Roger agrees to testify against Tracy in exchange for a lighter sentence. He tells detectives that he and Tracy flew across the country from Richmond to Chicago. They went to Miss Cece's house under the pretense of having their fortunes told.
How are ya?
Cece, I'm all over the place. I just need your help again.
Okay, yeah, just relax.
They were surprised that Alice was there.
Okay, I'll make a cup of tea for you and we'll sit down and we'll talk about it, all right? Okay, make yourself at home.
Suddenly, Tracy spirals into a blind rage. She starts stabbing Miss Cece and instructs Roger to kill Alice. In the heat of the moment, Roger does what she tells him. He stabs Alice repeatedly. Once mother and daughter are dead, Tracy and Roger drive to a department store and buy a gallon of white paint. They return to the scene of the crime and paint the hands and faces of the victims white. Then they ransack the house looking for cash. When they don't find any, they steal Miss Cece's phone and credit cards.
This was such a vicious murder, from the way they were stabbed to the horrible way the bodies were configured. And you gotta ask yourself, was this really just about money? Or was there something else motivating the madness?
A year before the brutal murder of Miss Cece and her daughter Alice, Tracy moved across the country on Miss Cece's recommendation that both her love life and business would flourish. Tracy made the move, opened a new fashion boutique, and began the daunting task of wooing her lover.
No,
What do you mean?
I can't.
But Leigh had moved on and didn't take the bait.
Sure?
You're crazy.
Interesting way to try to convince somebody to get back together with you. Threaten them with a hammer. Good idea. But Tracy's obviously suffering some kind of anger management issue, to put it mildly. She's so focused on getting what she wants that she can't see that her actions are irrational and only causing her more problems.
Her new business is hemorrhaging money, and she can't make her car payments. At a loss, Tracy calls the one person she counts on to fix the situation.
Hi, Miss Cece. It's Tracy.
What Miss Cece says next probably foretold her own fortune.
Sorry, Tracy, but Leigh doesn't love you. You have to move on.
Tracy is conditioned to believe that what she wants, she gon' get. And if she doesn't get it, then somebody has to pay.
She told me to pack up. She told me to leave my husband. Look what happens. My life is ruined.
She tells Roger that she's been cheated.
Love spell is supposed to work.
Miss Cece promised her a life of success.
We need to get my money
Instead, she finds herself alone and broke.
back. Come on, she can't get away with this. You're on my side, aren't you?
Because of this, Miss Cece deserves to die.
And then why did you kill Alice?
When detectives ask why Roger killed Alice, Miss Cece's daughter, Roger simply replies, collateral damage.
In my opinion, this woman is a sociopath, someone with zero empathy. When somebody gets in her way, she simply discards them. End of story.
And why did Roger agree to help? A man who's married with 5 children and has everything to lose.
Hey, listen, I have a friend, Marcia. Remember her? I can set you up with her.
Because he was extremely unhappy in his relationship, and Tracy promised to help him find potential lovers.
You like that, right? Yeah, come on, help me.
The two most insane motives ever to snuff out somebody's life. But here's the thing about senseless murders. Really, there are none. You ever heard that term, there's method to the madness? Yeah, because even though something seems senseless to you and me, to her, it makes perfect sense.
For his part in the crime, Roger is sentenced to 25 years. Tracy, the mastermind, receives a sentence of life without parole.
Tracy so believed in the power of this woman that when her life didn't turn out the way her fortune teller had promised, she felt it was well within her rights to kill her.
Even with Tracy behind bars, one mystery remains. Why did she choose to paint the face and hands of her victims white?
One theory that makes sense to me is that by having their faces covered, Tracy ensured that the two would never be reincarnated, a very important goal in their culture. Miss Cece and Alice's souls would fail to unite with their bodies in the afterworld because their faces would be unrecognizable because of the white paint. She didn't just kill them once. She essentially killed them forever.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, A dyed-in-the-wool romantic who's been doing the online dating thing for a while comes across a profile of an attractive young woman. They start up a flirtation. Her emails and texts are funny and smart. He starts to wonder if maybe he's finally met the one. But the encounter he has is far from romantic. Meet Bill, salesperson by day and aspiring filmmaker by night. Handsome, charming, charismatic. He moves from Florida back to his hometown of Saskatoon, Canada, where he meets his future wife online. She's drawn to his fanciful personality and love of dressing up as fictional characters. Bill also has a dark side. And since a young age, he's identified with the bad guys rather than the heroes of anything he's watched or read. When he discovers a television show about a blood spatter specialist who also happens to be a serial killer, he's finally found someone he can truly identify with.
During the 25 years I worked for the FBI, I came across a lot of real mopes. One thing that always stood out for me was none of them ever thought of themselves as villains. Think about that. No, they were always the hero in their own story. It was the world that didn't understand.
His obsession with the TV show grows. He binge watches the series, reads all the books. He even starts a show-themed online page with the status update which says, Bill has way too much in common with his hero. Then, one day, he decides to take his TV show obsession to the next level. He begins to blur fantasy and reality in a chilling way. Bill rents a garage in the suburbs of Saskatoon, which he turns into a kill room, just like the one his TV hero has, including plastic-covered walls to catch the blood splatter and the table on which to execute his victims.
By the time we become adults, most of us have seen hundreds of simulated murders on TV. Most people think, well, that's entertaining, and move on with their lives. But every once in a while, some deranged psycho comes along and says, wow, I think I'd like to try that.
This isn't how my life was supposed to end.
Well, this is how it's gonna end.
And cut. Good job, guys. Okay. Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Bill makes a short film called The Kill Room. It's about a screenwriter who lures people to his garage to kill them. It's part of his research for a feature-length movie he's making.
We're gonna roll on another take and we'll see how it goes? Yeah. Okay.
Some say life imitates art, some say art imitates life. In this case, it's life imitating TV, and not necessarily all that well.
Soon, Bill finds mere reenactment isn't enough. As his marriage starts to fall apart, his obsession with murder grows. And the more research he does, the more he realizes he embodies many of the traits that serial killers have: emotional detachment, selfishness, and a tendency to lie. He sees a psychiatrist who says he's fine, perfectly normal.
You are such a fool.
At this point, he decides to turn his fantasy into reality and become a real serial killer, just like his television hero.
So here's a man hell-bent on becoming a serial killer, and he goes to a trained professional who declares him normal. It's an odd word to use, unless by normal you mean capable of luring somebody to his garage, then killing and dismembering them. By that standard, oh yeah, Bill is completely normal.
Bill is very familiar with online dating sites. It's how he met his wife. He browses a popular site posing as Diane, a smart and beautiful young woman. It's a bait he hopes will attract some lonely single fish. And it's not long before he gets his first nibble. Meet Rick, 33 years old, recently separated, new in town, lonely. When he sees the online profile of Diane and finds out she wants to meet, he can't believe his luck. He agrees to meet Diane at an address that turns out to be a garage. A little odd, perhaps, but he figures it'll be fine.
Just a little word to the wise. I'm not even saying this as former law enforcement, just as a person in the world with a bit of common sense. If you answer an online dating ad, make sure you meet at a public place where there are lots of people. Do not, listen to me, do not agree to go to a garage in the middle of nowhere.
Hello? Diane?
And if you do that, and if the garage door is open, and if it's dark inside, don't just think it should be fine and go in. Use some survival instinct.
Diane?
Diane? Diane, are you here?
You are such a fool.
Rick's not going to give up without a fight, but the effects of the stun gun have kicked in, and he finds his legs aren't working properly. Then, Bill pulls a gun.
But it was a toy gun, just a prop. Why Bill would pull a toy gun on someone he plans to kill is anybody's guess. Maybe Bill was hoping to scare Rick into submission so he could finish him off. But he underestimated how powerful the instinct to survive can be. As they say in the squad bay, rookies make rookie mistakes, and Bill was definitely a rookie when it came to killing.
Rick manages to get outside the garage. Suddenly, he finds use of his legs. He makes a run for it. Rick knows if he winds up back in Bill's kill room, he's done for. And miracle of miracles, he sees a young woman out for a walk. Rick survives an attempt on his life, but he never reports it to the police. He simply vanishes. The woman who found him reports the incident, but the police don't take the complaint seriously and never follow up.
It might be hard for some people to understand why Rick would not go to the police after being attacked in a garage by a man in a hockey mask. But never underestimate the power of one of the most primal human emotions. You know the other ones, greed, fear, and lust. But in Rick's case, the big one was shame. He was just too embarrassed to admit how badly he'd been duped.
Bill botches his first attempt at becoming a serial killer in the style of his TV hero, but he isn't going to let that stop him. He begins a computer diary called Mass Murder Files, which describes his crimes in semi-fictional fashion, changing names and some details, but mostly sticking to the facts. A diary that includes the words, "This is a story of my progress into becoming a serial killer."
Why would Bill detail his crimes in a diary on his computer? Because he's arrogant. It's hubris. It's that pride before the fall. So many of these criminals think they're so smart, so much smarter than police. And they're just not.
Just 1 week after his first murder attempt failed, would-be serial killer Bill is back on his computer creating another bogus online profile. And he soon finds his second would-be victim, a man named Fred. Friends described Fred as caring and trusting, with a great work ethic and sense of humor.
Trust is a wonderful human quality, but it's overused. In actuality, it needs to be cultivated over time. People are not always who they say they are, and that's never been more true than when you're talking about online communication. Sometimes it pays to be a little suspicious. Like, say, when an online date suggests you meet in a garage in the middle of nowhere.
This time, though, Bill has changed his modus operandi. He tried to taser his first intended victim, Rick, with a stun gun, but Rick managed to get away. This time, he's using a lead pipe with hockey tape around the handle, so his grip doesn't slip when he swings it.
Julie? Julie, are you there? Julie?
This time, he's successful. Fred will not be walking out of that garage.
So Bill failed the first time around, and that person continued to live. And now he succeeded. Congratulations, Bill.
Bill, the wannabe serial killer, now has his first victim. All he has to do is cut up the body, which he does using a hunter's game processing kit, and then dispose of it. After a while, Bill, realizing Fred's friends might wonder why he's suddenly gone silent, decides to reach out to them. Using contacts he finds on Fred's phone, he sends them an email blast. Bill writes that he's met an amazing woman named Julie, and that they've taken off to Costa Rica for a long romantic vacation. The only problem, it sounds nothing like Fred. Roger, who has known Fred for 10 years, becomes especially concerned.
Hey, Fred, it's Roger here. I just got your text message. If you can give me a call back, that'd be great, mate. Anytime, thanks.
The two of them are in almost constant communication, and the guy he knows would never leave town without telling him.
Yes, hello. Can I speak to a detective, please?
He reports his concerns to authorities. Frustrated that police won't look into Fred's disappearance, Roger decides to take matters into his own hands.
Hey, Fred? Fred, you home, bud?
He breaks into Fred's house to see if he can figure out on his own what happened to his friend. Inside Fred's apartment, Roger finds his suitcase and passport.
Hello, yes, I'd like to speak to a detective, please.
Who am I speaking to?
Reported my friend Fred missing. I see his passport here. He couldn't have gone on vacation.
Can you tell me a little bit more?
This time, they take him seriously.
You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to deduce that the nice long vacation in Costa Rica is a complete crock. Well, it's a complete crock. Now we finally see someone using their instincts and not just trusting everything is the way it appears. It's too late for poor Fred, of course.
Hey, Detective Floyd. Thanks for seeing me on short notice.
When's the last time you actually spoke to Fred?
Just the other day. He was really excited that...
Detective Floyd launches a formal investigation into Fred's disappearance.
He just told me he met some woman online. He sent me this the other day before he was going on his date.
He learns that on the night Fred went missing, he sent Roger a text message saying, "If something happens to me, here's the address of where I'm meeting my date."
And do you know this woman he was going on a date with?
No, I never saw her or met her.
So something did ping on Fred's radar about going to meet a date at a garage in the middle of nowhere. Clearly, he heard a little voice saying, "There's something odd about this." It's just too bad the little voice didn't speak a little louder.
Detective Floyd contacts the owner of the garage that was Fred's last destination, Bill. Even though police don't have a warrant, Bill is only too happy to show them around. He even volunteers to come into the station for questioning.
Mind if I record this, or?
No, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. The reason I brought you in, we actually received a complaint last week, a possible assault in the area of your rental facility. Just wondering if you saw anything suspicious.
No. Just making movies, man. That's what I do there.
Oh, you're a filmmaker?
I'm a filmmaker, yes.
In these types of investigations, with very little to go on, a good investigator has to analyze all the little details. You study the suspect's body language, his demeanor, and you have to remember, this is the same guy who fooled a psychologist and a therapist into thinking he was normal.
What type of movies do you make?
Oh, it's working on a really good script right now.
Yeah? Tell me about it.
It's kind of a personal project. I don't really want to give away the plot.
For now, at least, Bill is eliminated as a suspect. But then Bill makes a crucial mistake. He brazenly volunteers some unnecessary information to the police.
Hey, it's Bill from the garage. I forgot to mention something. Yeah, the other week, some guy was in a hurry to sell his car. He sold it to me for about 40 bucks, saying he was getting hitched by some rich girl who was gonna be taking care of him. I just thought I'd mention that to you.
Can you believe the story this guy is selling? I mean, we're supposed to believe this? If this doesn't make you look real hard at old Bill, I don't know what will. And did I mention he volunteered all of this? Honestly, remember what I said about pride before a fall?
Now the police are on high alert. They issue a TV appeal for the victim of the failed murder attempt to come forward. It's been several weeks since the attack, and now Rick is finally ready to tell his story.
All the walls were covered in like plastic. This guy comes out and he's wearing this like a hockey mask. He hit me right with the stun gun. I was able to just boot him off. Rolled right under the door and got up, and I just ran.
That was over 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Why the delay in coming to the police?
I don't know. I was just shocked about it. To be honest with you, I was a little embarrassed. I mean, it seemed so obvious now. You know, I'd never even talked to this woman on the phone.
It's enough to get a warrant to search Bill's car and his home. On Bill's laptop, police find a document named Mass Murder Files, a blow-by-blow account of Bill's crimes, right down to every last detail.
Of course, he deleted the file before investigators show up. But when will people realize that nothing is ever truly deleted? Anyway, I'm glad criminals haven't figured this out. I mean, don't tell them, because it's one of our handiest tools. Retrieving so-called deleted files is easy. Just get a police nerd in front of it, we recruit them, and a couple of keystrokes later, boom, we got everything we need.
He describes how he built a kill room with plastic on the walls, the failed attempt on Rick's life, the murder and dismemberment of Fred.
The circumstantial evidence piles up. But without forensics, without DNA, without a body, you got diddly. And that's what these guys had, diddly squat.
Police set out to build a case against Bill. They search his garage and find movie props including handcuffs, knives, and a movie script which reads as an homage to his television serial killer hero called The Kill Room. Then they find evidence even more damning. Forensics technicians use luminol to detect over 200 bloodstains on the floor. They also find a pair of bloody jeans and a chilling to-do list that contains the item, tidy kill room.
You gotta love that. Typical guy, right? Writing himself notes all along. Tidy kill room. But he doesn't do a good enough job. Don't tell anybody, but they'll never do a good enough job. We get everything. And then he forgets to do his laundry. Oh, and here's another potential note to self. While you're tidying up the kill room, maybe throw out the note that says, tidy the kill room.
It's enough to get him arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He never confesses to the crime, but never denies it either. Investigators know he did it, but they still don't have a body. Eventually, after several months in prison, Bill tells them at least where to find Fred's body. In the end, he admits to the murder, but maintains that he killed Fred in self-defense as part of a publicity stunt for his movies.
If you're going to try and pull off a nose-stretcher story like that, maybe don't try to cover it up afterwards. I mean, I'm no Hollywood mogul, but as I understand it, the concept of a publicity stunt is that you actually make it public. The moral of the story? It's important to know the difference between fact and fiction. Bill idolized a fictional TV character and lured men into his kill room with the fiction of meeting their dream date. But the fact is, he committed a heinous crime and was put away for those crimes. And those facts, like all facts, speak pretty loudly for themselves.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, when Gavin's beautiful girlfriend, Amber, is brutally stabbed to death, Gavin finds solace in the arms of his sympathetic ex-lover, Meredith. But when Meredith is arrested for attempting to murder her husband, Tim, a husband that Gavin didn't even know about, a shocking web of love, lust, obsession, and deceit unravels. Meet Meredith, a smart and ambitious lawyer who's on the fast track to becoming partner. She's been married to Tim, her college sweetheart, for 13 years.
Oh, what a shot! Damn.
But Meredith finds herself a little bored with the repetition of married life. The spark may have faded from their marriage.
Oh, jeez.
But Meredith has plans to light it back up.
okay?
Yeah.
For Tim, it's a bit of sensuous fun.
Guess what this is?
For Meredith, it's something else entirely.
Ooh, soft. Oh, like a feather.
Yeah.
I like this game after all.
Tell me what this is.
Well.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I slipped.
It was a knife!
No, it was a letter.
Get
I'm
it!
so
Get
sorry.
me out of this!
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay!
Tim's not okay.
Call the ambulance!
I don't know where my phone is.
What?
I'm sorry, I don't know where my phone is. I can't find it.
Get me out of the cuffs, I'll find a phone.
Oh, okay, I found it. They put me on hold. They're playing that song you like.
What?
Hi, 911. I have an emergency.
I'm bleeding.
There's been an accident. Can you send an ambulance right away? It's critical, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, they'll be here in a minute.
I've seen a lot in my 25 years at the FBI, but someone getting stabbed happens every day. Or maybe, just maybe, there's more to this situation than meets the eye.
For 20 minutes, Tim and Meredith wait for an ambulance. But at the 45-minute mark, Tim insists that Meredith drive him to the ER, or he's going to pass out. What is normally a 20-minute drive to the hospital takes twice the time. When Tim and Meredith finally arrive, he's alive, but weak, in severe agony, and covered in his own blood.
Hey!
Oh, hi. Can you please help me? What's
going on?
My husband, something happened.
Lucky for him, a passerby sees the struggle and comes to Tim's aid. Hospital personnel rushes him to the ER. Minutes later, he's in surgery.
I have no idea what happened. I just found him like this.
When the police speak with Meredith, she tells them that Tim got stabbed at work and came home with his wounds.
I don't know what to tell you.
When no ambulance came, she rushed him to the ER.
Do you know anything? Is he okay right now? Do you know anything?
FBI agents and cops are very literal people, so if you're gonna spin us a yarn, it's got to ring true. The thing to do now is hear her out, hear what she's got to say, and then see if the evidence bears it out. That's Investigation 101. Hope you were taking notes, it'll be on the quiz.
This man found us, and he came and he helped me bring him into the hospital.
But the Good Samaritan tells a different story. He saw Meredith lunging at Tim with a letter opener, so he came to Tim's aid.
If you're gonna try to hoodwink a cop, give it your best shot, but you better hope they've got nothing to check your story against. Meredith figured that Tim wouldn't be alive to tell his side of the story, but he is, and he does.
When Tim wakes up from having the hole in his heart stitched up, he's in no hurry to see Meredith. And his version of the story is very different from the one Meredith told. No, he did not come home bleeding. His wife stabbed him while they were playing a game. She called 911, but no ambulance came. She seemed freaked out that she'd hurt him, but then totally flipped out and started stabbing him again, this time in the parking lot of the hospital. The police have enough to arrest Meredith on suspicion of attempted murder. But they still need to build the case for the trial. Detective Castle is the primary investigator assigned to the case. She carefully combs through Meredith's phone records and finds that she did make a call after stabbing her husband. But she didn't call 911. She called someone named Gavin. Detective Castle does some investigating and finds out that not only does Gavin work at the same law firm as Meredith, but he was investigated in the brutal murder of his girlfriend 6 months earlier.
Making connections is what crime solving is all about. That's what makes Sam Spade's story so compelling. He sees connections other people never would. That moment of insight, that's what you live for.
911, what is your emergency?
I think there's a man attacking my neighbor. I heard her screaming and some kind of fight.
When the police arrive expecting to find a domestic squabble, they instead discover something far worse. A grisly murder scene. The victim is Amber, a beautiful young woman with an Ivy League degree who specializes in international law. She's been stabbed 20 times in the face, neck, and torso. The wounds are consistent with a sharp, narrow object, probably an ice pick. No valuables were taken. No witnesses. The neighbor who called 911 is nowhere to be found. The police find blood traces on a sink in the powder room and theorize that the person who killed Amber may have gone into the bathroom to wash up, leaving DNA behind. The blood sample is submitted for analysis, but can take up to a year for accurate results.
Whoever committed the crime was likely known to Amber because she let that person into her home without a struggle. Local cops determined this was likely a crime of passion. An ice pick for a murder weapon speaks to a certain level of coldness. It's a very personal way to commit a murder.
Gavin was considered a prime suspect because he's Amber's boyfriend. He's brought in for questioning by Detective Campbell.
Seemed nervous.
The lead investigator in Amber's murder. Throughout the interview, Gavin is emotionless and vacant.
You guys worked together, that's right?
Yeah, the law firm.
You didn't have any reason to harm her?
No. If I did, why would I tell you? It's an interesting question.
At one point, he even starts picking at his eyebrows uncontrollably. All of these behaviors send up red flags for the investigators. And while Gavin may look like the perfect suspect,
And where were you on the day she died?
I told you I was at work.
he has an ironclad alibi.
I never left the building.
The law firm has an elaborate security system. Its data backs up Gavin's story.
So Mr. Eyebrows is off the hook for now, but if it were me, he wouldn't be completely off. I'd still be digging into his past because you never know what kind of skeletons you might be finding there.
Six months later, Amber's murder is still unsolved. Now, Detective Campbell, who has teamed up with Detective Castle, brings in Gavin for another round of questioning. This time, it's about his connection to Meredith.
This guy Gavin, he better be squeaky clean because he's got a weird way of violence following him around like a bad smell.
Gavin, can you tell me why Meredith would call you instead of an ambulance?
It didn't really make any sense. The phone call.
Hi, 911. I have an emergency. I'm bleeding. There's been an accident. Can you send an ambulance right away?
Meredith?
At first, he denies really knowing her, but eventually admits to a relationship.
I was seeing her before I met Amber.
You went out.
Yeah, when I met Amber, I broke up with her.
It becomes clear that Meredith wasn't thrilled with their relationship coming to an end.
I guess Meredith didn't take too kindly to being cast aside by Gavin, especially for a younger colleague. Talk about your messy workplace love triangle. I mean, we all know jealousy is a powerful emotion. When it's unleashed, it can have a mind of its own. You remember the bunny scene from the movie Fatal Attraction? Who could forget it?
Amber doesn't know it, but she's now in Meredith's crosshairs. In Meredith's mind, it's not that Gavin isn't interested. It's that Amber is in the way.
Did you know she was married?
No. What?
Meredith's married.
Since when?
She's been married for over a decade.
What's becoming clear is that Meredith is a master of deception. She's created a world of her own and beguiled other people into living in it.
Who's her husband? What is...
It's amazing what people can accept or believe, or how ready we are to take a person's word for who they are and what their agenda is.
Tim, the good husband, believes she has a man-hating sister for whom he has to leave the house whenever she visits.
Oh, come on.
Oh, babe, my sister's gonna be here soon.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
I guess I'll go watch the game at the bar then.
Okay.
Gavin, the boyfriend, believes he's spending weekends with an attractive single woman. Meredith has spun an elaborate web of lies, making it possible to live the perfect double life.
So Meredith stabs her husband, claiming it was an accident. And then we learn that she had an affair with a guy at work who traded her in for a newer model, which she didn't take kindly to. And that woman gets murdered, and that crime is never solved. Wow, that's way too much coincidence for me. If I were a betting man, I'd be looking more closely at Meredith.
Having already established means and opportunity, police now have motive. Meredith had been having an affair and wanted her husband out of the way so she could be with her lover, Gavin.
You've heard that expression, open and shut? Well, that pretty much describes the case against Meredith when it goes to court. The prosecution demolishes her implausible and constantly changing story. The stab wounds, the witnesses, the phone call to Gavin that proves she never even called 911.
Meredith is convicted for the attempted murder of her husband, Tim, and is sentenced to 20 years. One case might be closed, but police are convinced that Meredith is involved in Amber's death. They just need to prove it. Detective Castle listens to the anonymous 911 call made on the night of Amber's murder.
911, what is your emergency? I think there's a man attacking my neighbor. I heard her screaming and some kind of fight.
And is convinced that the voice belongs to Meredith. But when the 911 call is put through voice recognition software, the comparison isn't conclusive.
Voice recognition software is a great tool for investigators, but because it's not 100%, it won't hold up in court. Investigators need to find evidence against Meredith that isn't circumstantial. They need something that will give them means and opportunity.
Detective Castle searches the company records where all three people in our love triangle worked. She makes a key discovery. Meredith left work at the same time as Amber did on the day of her murder. Meredith returned 2 hours later.
The first M is motive.
So, court date Wednesday.
It is clear that Meredith was obsessed with Gavin and determined to be with him. Amber was the obstacle. Means. An ice pick isn't hard to get. And Meredith clearly knows how to stab someone because she's now in prison for having done just that. And the O is for opportunity. She had that as well. That security system that proved Gavin was at work when Amber was killed now reveals that Meredith was out. And Amber knew Meredith and would have let her into her home. So we have means and opportunity, but it's still circumstantial and won't necessarily hold up in court. Investigators need a smoking gun, a piece of evidence that places Meredith at Amber's home.
Finally, the blood spatter analysis comes back for the DNA found on the sink in Amber's bathroom. And they found a match. It's the smoking gun the police have been looking for. The blood found on Amber's sink matches Meredith's DNA. This places Meredith at the scene of the crime and is enough to arrest her for Amber's murder.
At some point during the fight, without realizing it, Meredith nicked herself with the ice pick. This is actually very common, especially when the attacker is holding a sharp weapon that is slippery with blood. But when she washed her hands, she left some of her own blood on the faucet. And that's why the DNA results showed Amber's blood mixed with Meredith's.
When Meredith starts talking,
I love Gavin. I just wanted to be with him.
the investigators realize she's one of those rare things.
Like the only solution.
Yes. Yeah.
A true monster
She deserved it. She was making me crazy.
who's played everyone in her life to satisfy her lusts and
I
obsessions.
had to be around them, flirting. It just drove me insane, like seeing them together every day at work, like making out in front of me. Unprofessional.
When she lost Gavin to Amber, she set out to get him back, whatever the cost.
How did you kill her?
First, I hit her on the head with this thing and she fell to the ground, and then I stabbed her. I stabbed her multiple times.
20 times.
Was it 20? I don't know. It felt like not enough.
Let's go over it one more time.
I went to her house.
Would you like some water?
I would love some. Thank you.
What brings you by?
Oh, not much. I just wanted to come see your place. Hello. I think there's a man attacking my neighbor. I heard her screaming and some kind of fight. Can you send an ambulance?
After eliminating her competition, Meredith cleans herself up and then heads back to work like nothing happened. With Amber out of the picture, Meredith can have Gavin all to herself. They rekindled the affair, but this time, Meredith isn't prepared to lead a double life. There's only one person standing in the way of Meredith living happily ever after with Gavin. Her husband, Tim.
People who get away with murder once tend to get cocky. An ice pick worked nicely on Amber, but Tim is stronger, so Meredith figures out a way to trick him. But in the end, all she did was lay the breadcrumbs that led the investigators of Amber's murder right to her.
I'm very sorry, okay? I'm very sorry, but I had no other choice. I'm not sorry I did it. She deserved it, okay?
Meredith is sentenced to 60 years for the murder of Amber.
The lesson here? You can't have your cake and eat it too. Meredith may have led the perfect double life and thought she got away with the perfect murder. But like most criminals, your past usually catches up with you. If it hadn't been for this blood on the faucet, she might just have gotten away with it too. Meredith should be free to start a new life in 2089. She'll be 109. Who knows? By then, 109 might be the new 90.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, when a young woman is murdered, detectives follow the bizarre trail from takeout tacos to a bachelor party. And just when they start to think the killer might get away with murder, they uncover the truth behind the vicious attack and find themselves smack dab in the middle of a Shakespearean tragedy.
My love. And I am no longer a Capulet.
Rob, a 29-year-old former first responder, has failed to show up to his uncle's house for dinner. When he calls his cell, it goes straight to voicemail. Worried about his nephew, Mr. Simons drives over to the apartment and lets himself in with the spare key.
Robbie! Robbie, you okay?
Rob's apartment looks tidy, but his nephew is nowhere to be seen. When he looks in Rob's bedroom, he's horrified. He sees the body of a young woman prostrate on the bed, and on the front of her t-shirt, the words, "She's all yours," are scrawled in black marker.
Can you send someone?
When you've worked as many crime scenes as I have, you often see the killer leaving some kind of message. This one seems to suggest the suspect was leaving a note for another lover. Love triangles are one of the most common motives for murder. So the killer is essentially saying, I don't want her anymore, you can have her. But of course, they can't, for obvious reasons.
When police arrive, they survey the scene. The young woman has been stabbed, her pants cut off, suggesting a sexual assault. A knife is on the bed, likely the murder weapon. At first glance, she's been stabbed several times in the back. Under the body, a cell phone, presumably the victim's.
Detectives are looking for the murder weapon or weapons. These are the most obvious clues found at a crime scene that can lead to the killer. But just because there's weapons found near the body, it doesn't necessarily mean they were used in the crime.
The victim is 21-year-old Lisa. Born to Italian immigrants, she's a kind and caring young woman who always looks out for her friends. And one of those friends is Rob. Lisa and Rob met at college. They became close when she offered to tutor him.
So right now, this isn't looking so good for Rob. His close friend is found dead in his bed, and he is nowhere to be seen. Detectives are putting together the pieces of this puzzle, and it looks like Rob may have had some romantic feelings towards his friend. If those feelings were unrequited, bam, there's your motive.
Mr. Simons tells detectives that Rob couldn't have committed this crime. He's been taking a break from his work as a first responder due to a work-related injury. According to Simons, he's been suffering with PTSD and was having nightmares. But the meds seem to be helping. He insists that Lisa and Rob were extremely close friends, more like brother and sister, and they had no romantic inclinations toward each other. In fact, Mr. Simons is concerned that Lisa's killer has kidnapped his nephew and that he is in imminent danger.
In my experience, it's very common for relatives of criminals to deny their loved one did anything wrong. You'll often see daddy or auntie come swooping into their kid's defense when all the evidence points directly to their precious little Johnny.
As detectives search the crime scene, they develop a different theory. They find no signs of a struggle in the apartment. If someone subdued Rob, they believed the young, strong first responder would have put up a fight. They also find his car and his passport missing. But what really seals Rob's fate are the text messages on Lisa's phone. They reveal a distressed Rob reaching out to Lisa in the early morning hours.
More and more signs are pointing to Rob. He has a dead girl in his apartment, his passport and car are missing, and now messages on Lisa's phone show him inviting her over. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out he's your prime suspect. You know how the saying goes, if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
Detectives dig deeper into Rob's life and learn some alarming details. Right before becoming a first responder, Rob was involved with a bad crowd. He was arrested along with his friends and charged with assault. He was eventually acquitted and exonerated of the crime, but detectives are still alarmed.
Yeah. Just because you've been acquitted of a crime doesn't mean you didn't do it, and the cops know that. It just means the DA didn't have enough evidence to pin it on you. So this guy's suffering from PTSD, and he's previously been arrested for assault. And that is a dangerous cocktail. They need to find this ticking time bomb fast.
They track Rob's movement through his finances and discover his bank card has been used 4 times at different ATMs across the city. The last withdrawal was an hour ago. That means Rob could still be in the city.
Cash withdrawals and debit purchases leave a money trail that's easy for police to track. Criminals should know better, but hey, we're not talking about the top 1% of Harvard graduates, are we? It looks like Rob is feeling the pressure, and it's causing him to get a little sloppy.
But when police obtain surveillance footage from the ATM, they get a shock. It's not Rob withdrawing money, but an unidentified white male wearing a baseball cap.
This is a curveball the detective didn't see coming. They were expecting to see Rob, not some pimply teenager. So now they have to figure out who this kid is, how he fits in the picture, and most importantly, how they can track him down.
As they search for their new suspect, the cops get a lucky break. Someone uses Rob's bank card to order Mexican food for delivery to their house.
Of all the ways to get caught, ordering a few tacos is really a new one. I'll give him points for originality, I mean, at the very least.
Investigators follow the tacos to a home in a quiet suburban neighborhood. The police gather outside the house.
Police, open up!
But when nobody answers, they break down the door.
Freeze, clear!
Police get a big surprise.
Show me your hand!
It's not Rob. It's the young man from the ATM machine.
After all these years as an investigator, nothing surprises me. But this is a twist even I wasn't expecting. The challenge with this type of case is that you have to remain kind of nimble. You have to be able to refocus and figure out your next steps. And you got to do that fast because you've got a killer on the loose.
The young man is 20-year-old Kevin, a freshman at the local community college. As the police search his house, the detective finds an important piece of evidence: Rob's bank card.
How'd you get Rob's bank card?
Listen, I don't know who Rob is, okay? I don't know anything about any of this. I have this family friend, right? And he told me, he showed me these documents and said, you just gotta go around all these ATMs and take some cash out.
Which friend?
His name is Jack. Let me just grab one second.
Jack told him he works for a bail bond agency. He's collecting some outstanding debt.
Right there. That's him. That's Jack.
He swears on his mother's life that he has no idea who Rob is.
Jack, where can I find Jack?
Beats me, man. I mean, you know.
Instinct always plays a part in any investigation, and whenever you're interrogating a suspect, you use it to determine whether or not they are lying. So if this young kid is to be believed, and it looks like he is, it seems we've got some kind of trickster manipulating a naive teenager for financial gain. The question is, to what end?
Detectives learn that 28-year-old Jack is a fun, outgoing amateur actor with a magnetic personality. He grew up with loving parents who gave him every opportunity in life. And he has no history of violence or psychological problems. He's a big player in the local theater scene, often playing the leading man in their productions.
Oh, speak again, bright angel. For thou art as glorious to this night being o'er my head as is a winged messenger of heaven unto the white...
Jack is good at what he does, and he loves the limelight. But he's happy to be king of the community theater world rather than seeking fame and fortune in Hollywood.
Be but sworn by love, and I will no longer be a Capulet. I felt really good about that.
Yeah.
I felt really in it. Shall we do it again?
How about bigger? How about even bigger? Just to...
Yes.
All the way up, and then
I
we push it down.
want to feel it from my soul.
Yeah. And then we'll push it down into our toes.
Yes.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
Okay.
He's engaged to fellow actress Nicole, who often plays the female lead opposite him. They've been living together for a year and are eagerly anticipating their elaborate wedding, followed by a tropical beach honeymoon. They're currently starring in a Shakespearean tragedy produced by the local theater company, My Way or Broadway. The wedding is scheduled 5 days after the close of the show.
And I will no longer be a Capulet. Whose phone went off? Seriously, we're in rehearsal. Really?
Larry!
But what police find most interesting about the thespian is not his range as an actor, but his home address. He lives 1 floor above Rob in the same apartment complex.
Proximity. It's a key factor when you're trying to make a link between suspects. So you got Rob, who's our murder suspect, and Jack, who is taking money out of his account. And they live next door to each other. Highly unlikely this is coincidence. I'm betting they're in cahoots. The question that needs to be answered is how and why.
Detective Young contacts Jack and asks him to come down to the police station for a chat. He refuses, telling them he's attending his bachelor party. But the police wait for no man, especially when attending his own bachelor party.
Have a seat, Jack.
Jack is accused of helping Rob escape capture.
What's up? Can you tell me about Rob? Rob. My buddy Rob.
While Jack admits to knowing Rob, he claims he has no idea where he is. When the detectives threaten to throw him in jail, he sticks to his story.
No. Look, this is not a joke. You can miss your wedding. I'm dead serious. I will lock you up. Is that the kind of game you want to play?
Jack finally capitulates.
Okay, man. Okay, I'll tell you everything I know, okay?
Some investigators threaten suspects with a horror of jail or an arrest or something trivial like that. I used to like to threaten them with not being able to go to their kid's college graduation, their 5-year-old kid's college graduation.
I was at the theater performing in my play, Romeo and Juliet, with my fiancée. And it was a fantastic night, actually. And we went home, went to bed. I woke up the next morning to this pounding on the door, okay? I open it up, and what do I see but Rob standing in front of me, wild-eyed, like a madman. Arms flexed and veins pulsing and forehead just about to burst. He tells me, Jack, I've killed Lisa.
It's a one-man show, and Jack has the starring role. But his over-the-top performance piques Detective Young's suspicion. In other words, he doth protest too much. He paints a picture of Rob as on the run and desperate for cash.
And he asked me for money. He says, I've got to get out of here. I got to go. Got to get away. I got to go on the run. I got to...
Where's Rob now?
No, I don't know.
I always love a good performance, and nothing gives me more pleasure than to watch a stupid criminal think he's playing the detectives. I just need a bag of popcorn, and I'm set.
Detective Young tightens the screws on Jack and collects his DNA to compare to the crime scene. He also asks for a writing sample to compare the killer's note left on Lisa's t-shirt. And when he asks to see his phone, they hit pay dirt. They discover incriminating online searches made on the week before the murder.
If I wasn't in the business of catching killers, I'd open a school for dumb criminals and teach one class and one class only. B, if you're going to commit a crime, don't, I repeat, do not do an internet search on your computer or phone on how to do it.
And so you research how to get rid of a corpse.
Feeling the heat, Jack suddenly changes his story. Again.
Okay. I went down to his place with him, Detective.
He admits to being in Rob's apartment on the night of the murder, but denies being there when the murder actually occurred.
So
here's where you can tell the professional criminals from the amateurs. The pros stick to their story, no matter what. It doesn't matter what you throw at them. The newbies crack. They keep changing their story. They scramble to come up with something that makes sense. And this, my friends, is amateur hour.
And
Jack tells Detective Young that Rob came upstairs begging for his help that night. He claims he went down to Rob's apartment, uncertain as to what he would find. But when he stepped into Rob's bedroom, he saw a horrible sight.
What did you see? I saw Lisa dead. If he killed her, man.
Jack has been putting on quite a performance until now, but detectives have forced him into a corner. It remains to be seen whether he can act his way out of this one or not.
Lying on the bed.
When he's pressed to describe what he saw, he makes a fateful blunder.
What exactly did you see?
I saw that she'd been stabbed in the back 3 times.
Detectives know something that Jack doesn't. That's information only the killer would know.
Here's the thing. You wouldn't be able to tell how many times Lisa was stabbed just by looking at the body. With this kind of injury, there's just too much blood. The only way you would know how many times the victim was wounded is if you were there.
Can I make a phone call?
Realizing the cops are closing in, Jack asks to speak to his fiancée, Nicole, on the phone.
Nicole. Hey, it's me.
She tells him she's found a bag with bloody clothes and Rob's passport in it. She warns Jack that she's going to tell the police about it. He begs her not to.
Nicole, don't do that, okay? I can explain everything.
Remember what I said about teaching only one class to criminals? I take it back. I'm gonna make it 2. When you make a phone call from jail or a police station, the cops can hear you. They record the calls. Any attempt to talk secretly or in code is going to get you nowhere. In fact, it'll only dig yourself deeper into a pit of self-incrimination.
Okay, so I did it. I killed them both, okay? You want to know how I did it? I got him to the theater, and I let him into the back. I told him I needed his help carrying some bags to my car. Said I hurt my shoulder in a rehearsal.
I can bring him down to your car?
Please, yeah, that'd be fantastic. Thank you, Rob.
As Rob bends down to pick up the bags, Jack grabs him from behind and slits his throat.
I just slit his throat. And flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Then he waits for Rob to bleed out. He steals Rob's wallet, cell phone, and apartment keys. That night, Jack goes on with the show, putting on an incredible performance. After the show is over, he and Nicole go back to their apartment. Posing as Rob, he sends a text message to Rob's college friend, Lisa, who Jack had previously met. Just after 11, Lisa arrives at Rob's apartment building.
Hi, Lisa, come in, please.
He tells her Rob texted him too, asking for help. He says Rob is in the bedroom.
Oh, well, you know how he is. He won't get out of bed. Let me take your coat.
He's careful to wipe his prints from the knife. Proceeds to cut off Lisa's pants with one of Rob's scissors from his first responder kit. and writes, "She's all yours," on her t-shirt. Jack then steals Rob's car keys and passport.
Despite the guy's penchant for overacting, he obviously did a good enough job to convince Lisa, who he'd only met a couple of times before, to walk into his trap. And then, in some twisted drama of his own making, he tries to destroy Rob's reputation by making him look like a rapist and a murderer.
The next day, Jack returns to the theater and dismembers Rob's body. He takes his body parts to an abandoned industrial site, where he disposes of them in several steel drums. What he tells the police next is probably the most disturbing part of the story.
It was seriously, dude. I was kind of laughing while I was doing it. It was weird, but it was kind of fun. It felt like I was in a movie, you know, like that scene. Yeah.
If we didn't know it before, we know it now. There's a lot of words I can think of for somebody like this, but why don't we just stick to the professional one? Psychopath.
Yeah, and I put all the bits in different steel drums.
But why would a seemingly well-adjusted, well-loved, well-raised young man commit such a heinous crime?
There's always gotta be a motive, even with self-absorbed psychopaths. This guy's been forthcoming so far, but that doesn't mean he's gonna give it all to the cops on a silver platter. And it doesn't mean it's gonna make sense.
And I was having a pretty difficult time. Lost in the woods, you might say, yeah? And well, I have a bit of trouble with what people call truth, because really, who gets to decide what's true? Detective? Do you?
Jack admits he's a pathological liar that has been in a downward spiral for 2 years.
Yeah, it'd
Like
be like
wedding
our engagement premiere,
That's
and
pretty cool.
so we could have our engagement photos outside.
He has allowed his passion for theater to take up all his time and energy, and has moved from one low-paying, dead-end job to another. At the time of the murder, he's 2 months behind in his rent and facing eviction. As debts slowly close in on him, he starts worrying about how he's going to pay for his upcoming wedding and honeymoon. He starts borrowing money from friends, and when that avenue runs out, his money situation becomes even more desperate.
Yeah.
But-
We can talk on the way.
Sure.
On the way home.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You see this a lot in my business. Desperation leads to stupidity. Once a criminal feels like the walls are closing in, they're probably not gonna make good decisions from there on out. It kind of takes the desperate times call for desperate measures idea just a little too far, you know?
But Jack knows someone who has a lot of money, if only he can get his hands on it.
Yeah, no, this is it's a smart TV. Look, I'm on the internet right now. How cool is that? Yeah, so I could basically...
Rob Simons had received $80,000 as a settlement after a work injury as a first responder. When Jack finds this out, he devises a way to make that money his own.
$80,000 might seem like a small amount of money to kill for, but to Jack, this was enough to solve all of his money problems, avoid eviction, pay for his wedding, and pay for his honeymoon. From his skewed point of view, it was worth it.
I just needed money. I just needed the money.
Jack couldn't admit to his fiancée that he had no job, no money, and couldn't afford to marry her. Most people at this point would either get a job or postpone the wedding. Not Jack, though. He decides his best solution is to kill his neighbor. And then, this is where it gets even more crazy, he decides to also kill Lisa to cover his tracks.
On the day Jack was supposed to marry his fiancée Nicole, he is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. At trial, he pleads not guilty, despite having previously confessed. But the jury are not convinced by his theatrics and find him guilty of murder. Jack is sentenced to life without parole, with no more roles to play except for that of a convicted felon.
East and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon.
Evil has many different faces. This one had 2. The popular and fun-loving actor and the selfish, cold-blooded killer. Jack cast himself in the role of double murderer and probably thought he could get away with it. But his penchant for performing was too great, and he acted himself into a corner his skills couldn't get him out of. This was a crime so bizarre that he committed 2 savage murders so he could have a beach honeymoon. He wrote himself a twisted tale to star in and left 2 innocent victims in the wings. Even Shakespeare in all his glory couldn't have written this one. Stephen King, on the other hand, well, you get the picture.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, an arson allegedly set by local gangs uncovers the actions of a reclusive anti-drug crusader.
She's going around sticking her nose in everyone's business.
The heinous plot of a die-hard partier.
You want the bottle so badly, go and drink it.
A tale of twisted family loyalty and revenge. And one dead body leaves police with the loathsome job of sifting through the ashes, looking for the murderer. Kimmy is a quiet, unassuming 55-year-old woman who recently retired from her job as a dental hygienist.
How we doing?
All right.
A little drowsy?
She built herself a nice little nest egg and had plans to spend the rest of her days enjoying her retirement. That was the plan until her house is torched. A gas-fueled inferno that could only be the work of arsonists.
So Gladys, you want to tell me what's going on here?
Listen, you gotta do something about this woman.
Detective Grant, the responding officer, learns that Kimmy, while quiet, is very protective of her neighborhood.
She's going around sticking her nose in everyone's business, and it's just driving us all nuts.
She's been on a personal crusade to take down the drug dealers who are taking over her neighborhood. She's even gone as far as installing cameras on her porch to gather evidence against the drug dealers, and then sending the tapes to police to shame them into doing something. People were taking notice.
So here we have a quiet, middle-aged woman who likes to knit, who's decided to take the law into her own hands. In my experience as a former FBI agent, that is never a good idea. I get it. You want to do something. It's her neighborhood. But when you play with fire, you will get burned.
Fire! Fire!
Kimmy's house has been torched at least 2 times before. Luckily without too much damage. But the drug dealer's scare tactics don't deter her. If anything, it fuels her personal fire to clean up her neighborhood.
She's the problem here, and you gotta do something about it.
While some neighbors see Kimmy as a superhero with her anti-drug crusade,
We can't put up with this anymore.
I'll look into it.
others think she's being reckless, endangering the neighborhood further, and that she has to be stopped.
And today's top story, local woman being heralded as a hero after her home is burned to the ground in what police suspect is retribution by local drug dealers.
The news of Kimmy's heroic fight against the city's drug dealers goes citywide.
Neighbors say the woman was leading the fight against drugs and corruption in the community.
Throngs of well-wishers send money to cover her medical expenses. A contractor offers to rebuild her house. And the governor offers a reward for help with the case.
You're making me blush. Stop.
Overnight, she's gone from zero to hero.
When a case is splashed all over the news, it's a double-edged sword. It can be good and it can be bad. The good news is that it can drum up lots of leads and potential suspects. The bad news is it can drum up lots of leads because chasing those leads involves a lot of manpower, and most of the leads end up being dead ends. But the one thing you can always count on when the media is all over a case, it's going to put a lot of pressure on you to solve the crime, and fast.
Hi, Kimmy.
Hello.
I'm Detective Grant.
Oh, nice to meet you.
With neighborhood interviews turning up little to no information, Detective Grant arrives at the hospital to question Kimmy.
You've become quite a sensation.
People have been very kind to me.
Yeah. So, have you had any arguments or disagreements with anyone in your neighborhood recently?
Not directly, no.
And this was your family home?
When the investigators interview victims or perpetrators, they're looking as much at how things are being said as what is being said. Is there anything that doesn't quite fit? And Kimmy does not come across as the reserved woman people claim she is. So what could this mean? Is it trauma from the fire? Is she still in shock? Or is there something else going on?
Do you think there's anyone else besides drug dealers who might have burned your house down?
No.
The one question the cops can't shake: if drug dealers wanted Kimmy out of the way for retribution, why would they burn her house down? It's just not their style.
Detective Grant reaches out to his informants.
Yeah, it's Grant.
To size up if they know anything about both the fire and drug dealers who might have had a vendetta against Kimmy. But no one has even heard of her.
It makes sense that there are no solid leads coming from the street. I mean, junkies and drug dealers don't get revenge like that. More pokers are needed for this fire. These punks are more gun and knives people. Either way, they wouldn't risk the heat of killing a civilian. I'm no mathematician, but this doesn't add up.
Suspecting there's more to this crime than meets the eye, Detective Grant starts digging into Kimmy's personal life.
What you doing?
Hey, hi, sweetie. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Turns out she has a sister,
Enough of that.
Karen,
I'm making your favorite chocolate chip cookies.
You're so good to me.
who has lived with her for the past 15 years.
You're looking a bit wobbly there.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah.
And where Kimmy is reserved and quiet, Karen is a partier with shady friends and is known to make bad decisions.
I can see something
I
there.
have a favor to ask. I
Yeah,
have a date
Luke.
tonight.
A date?
Yes.
All right. Maybe you should stop drinking so much before the date.
No, I'm just getting loose. I got a party hardy tonight because I'm going to impress them.
The neighbors talk about how close the two sisters are, that they even look alike.
So I need to borrow $200 from you.
But they also often hear them arguing,
I just gave you $400.
I know, but that was just for living stuff.
especially over money.
It's going to be such a special night, please.
Kimmy supports Karen, giving her an allowance,
I'm gonna have to say that the door's closed on the bank today, Kimmy.
which she quickly burns through.
Look at me that way, please. I've done nothing but support you.
You know this is special and
You
it
need
means
to
a
stop
lot
that.
to me.
You need to stop. I'm not going to fight you over it. You want the bottle so badly? Go and drink it. Go on. That's where the money seems to be going anyway.
You're doing this.
I'm sorry. This is for your own good. How do they look? I don't wear them that often, so I'm going to depend on you.
Oh, they look fabulous.
Okay, and where do you want me to look for them?
Just straighten the lens and talk to your audience.
Okay.
And go.
I don't know who set fire to my house, but I do know that they wanted me dead.
Detective Grant returns to the hospital to question Kimmy
It will take a lot more than setting fire to my house 4 times
and is once again met by a media circus.
from the dirty, rotten drug dealers that have infested our streets.
Great. Good job.
Thank you.
So, Kimmy, I understand you have a sister, which you conveniently left out the first time we spoke.
It must have slipped my mind from the trauma of the fire.
Kimmy reveals that Karen left for Atlantic City with her boyfriend a few days before the arson.
So, Kimmy has a sister, Karen, who looks a lot like her, and this is the first investigators are hearing about it? That is a red flag if I've ever seen one. And there's a second red flag. Where is Karen? Her sister Kimmy's face has been plastered all over the news and not even a phone call to check in. Something does not smell right.
Working a hunch, Detective Grant returns to Kimmy's home with the arson team. This time, looking for evidence of a crime the fire was meant to cover up. He discovers a freezer, blackened from the fire, and wrapped in what seems to be duct tape. Inside are remains that appear to be human. The fire has melted the freezer seals, letting in the heat and essentially turning the freezer into an oven.
Grant's hunch was right. The fire was a cover-up. This case has gone from arson to a murder investigation like that. The question is, whose baked remains are those in the freezer?
Yeah, I'm looking for the patient in room 4A. She checked herself out.
Against doctor's orders, Kimmy has discharged herself, taking with her several large donation checks she received from her well-wishers.
Okay, can we toss out the theory that drug dealers were targeting the house? Clearly something more sinister is going on. Our little Miss Hero Kimmy has some talking to do.
What else do I need? How about a vacation?
Kimmy cashes out on some of that sympathy money. In particular, a $2,500 check from a generous donor.
Find a body, lose a body. This investigation is stalled again. We put out a bolo, or for those not as familiar with police jargon, be on the lookout to track the victim who may now be a perpetrator, but actually it's 2 now. Both sisters are unaccounted for. This is an all-points bulletin, and that's APB.
With both Kimmy and Karen missing, the investigation has stalled. But then Detective Grant catches a lucky break.
Please, open up.
He gets a tip that Kimmy has been seen checking into a motel.
Detective Grant, surprised to see you here.
Hi, Kimmy. So, what are you doing here?
Hey, I'm chilling out and I'm relaxing. It was a tough time in the hospital.
Oh, yeah. So I've got a few questions for you.
Okay.
Maybe you come downtown, have a little chat.
Again?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I'll just get my things and... All right. Okay.
Whose body's in your freezer?
Oh, Detective, I've told you 100 times already. I don't know whose body is in the freezer.
Detective Grant grills Kimmy for hours.
Well, where's your sister, Karen?
Again, as I've said, she's in Atlantic City.
Atlantic City?
Yes.
But Kimmy insists that she doesn't know where in Atlantic City Karen is staying and has no way of contacting her.
I'll be back.
With the interrogation sitting at a stalemate, a surprising document falls into Detective Grant's lap. Turns out, another family member who lives in a different town has filed a missing persons report on Kimmy. Because family members haven't seen or heard from her in over a month.
I'd like to think that we can get the facts straight as investigators were able to see the forest for the trees. But even I'm confused by this one. The woman sitting in the interrogation room is Kimmy. But now there's a missing persons report for Kimmy. Then who is sitting in that chair in the interrogation room?
Yeah, it's Grant. This report, is this for real?
When Detective Grant receives the autopsy report, things go from strange to bizarre. The coroner has determined the body in the freezer has been stabbed multiple times, then chopped up with an axe, bagged, and stuffed into the freezer over a month ago.
You're sure about this?
The coroner also has ID on the body.
All right.
So who are you?
Excuse me, I'm Kimmy.
I just got off the phone with the coroner. That body in your freezer, that's Kimmy.
That can't be. They must have made a mistake.
The autopsy report states that the body parts lying in the morgue belong to Kimmy. And yet, even when confronted with this evidence, she stands by her story.
This situation is particularly strange because you have someone who's been on TV all over the nation, a case the FBI would call a special, a high-profile case that can possibly speed up solving the crime. First, Kimmy's the victim of a crime by supposed drug dealers. Then she's reported as missing when she clearly isn't. Now she's supposed to be dead, lying on a slab in the morgue. Is Kimmy really Karen, or is Karen really Kimmy?
The only way to prove who is with fingerprints. But to get a match, whoever Kimmy really is will have to have a criminal record with prints on file.
So, you want to tell me what Kimmy was doing in your freezer?
Unlike people, fingerprints don't lie. Kimmy's prints match those of a woman arrested for prostitution 10 years earlier. And wait for it, the prints belong to none other than the elusive sister, Karen. Single white female, anyone?
Faced with the incontrovertible proof of her identity, the woman claiming to be Kimmy comes clean.
All right. I'm Karen. Ah, look at Kimmy baking again.
I'm making your favorite chocolate chip.
Oh, that's really sweet of you. Listen, I met this guy.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Oh, yeah, maybe. And I need some money. I'm out of money.
Well, Karen, I just gave you $400.
Well, that was 2 days ago, Kimmy. Come on, you know how it is.
I'm really tired of this. I am. Would you just stop drinking?
No, I'm not gonna stop drinking. I think I'll have another one.
No.
Don't touch me! All I want is some money. Don't you touch me again.
I'm not giving you any more money.
But there's another twist in store for detectives.
I swear to you, on my mother's best china, I did not kill my sister, Kimmy.
I don't buy it, Karen. You're the only one who had anything to gain by her death. You gotta come clean.
It wasn't me.
Detective Grant charges Karen with murder and fraud.
It turns out Karen was impersonating her sister Kimmy, and a big part of the reason she was able to get away with it for so long is that the sisters looked a lot alike. But once you've caught a perp red-handed, finding out the rest of the story is just knocking the first domino down.
Under mounting pressure in the courtroom and faced with the undeniable evidence against her, Kimmy finally cracks and spills the beans on the entire sordid affair. Kimmy was tired of being Karen's meal ticket, and when she learned her sister had forged her signature to cash 4 of her annuity checks,
What are these?
It's no big deal. They're checks. They're just checks.
They're checks with my name on them.
she threatens to cut her off.
It's over.
What do you mean it's over?
I want you out.
To the outside world, the look-alike sisters appear close. But in reality, Karen harbors a deep-seated resentment towards Kimmy.
After all that I've done?
I'm so tired of hearing about everything that you've done for me. You're right. I'm a worthless piece of cow manure.
She envies her success and money, and she's not happy with the meager allowance Kimmy gives her.
Get out!
This is my house, too.
When Karen saw her personal ATM closing its doors, she came up with a new retirement plan. If Kimmy wasn't going to take care of Karen, then Karen was going to take care of Kimmy. As far as motives go, this is one we see every day: greed. Karen wanted Kimmy's annuities and the fire insurance money. What we don't see every day is someone cutting up their sister, putting the pieces in a freezer, and then setting the house on fire. That takes it to the next level. I'm no psychologist, but the word I have for a person who can do that with no remorse is psychopath.
Karen had assumed Kimmy's identity, allowing her access to her sister's insurance policies, bank accounts, and retirement checks. The media attention and cash donations from well-wishers was a happy bonus.
Karen had everyone fooled for the short time she was Kimmy, despite the fact that the look-alike sisters had completely different personalities. And she really was a chameleon, able to change herself into who she needed to be to get what she wanted, and that is, at least until she got caught.
In the act of burning the family home for insurance money, Karen herself got burned. Karen is found guilty of murder and fraud-related charges. She's sentenced to life without the chance of parole.
In all my years as an investigator, I've seen a lot of truly bizarre cases. But a sister killing her own sister and then impersonating her for money, and then become famous for it? She's a fiery one. She had everyone duped, and it was bold, I'll give her that. But that kind of daring doesn't last for long. The law always wins.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, a summer town where hundreds of people are out enjoying what the beach and the bars have to offer. Local police have their hands full with drunken disorderlies and petty crimes. But what looks like a bungled burglary
down on your knees
takes investigators down a dark and twisted path that's anything but fun in the sun. Tybee Island is a beach town near Savannah, Georgia. On the off-season, it's laid back and quiet. But starting on Memorial Day weekend, its population explodes with vacationers looking to let their hair down and have a good time on and off the beach.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoy a vacation as much as anyone else, maybe more. But as a former FBI agent, I've seen tourists do some risky things they'd never think of doing at home. You know, like the saying goes, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But in my experience, it's that kind of thinking, or rather not thinking, that can get you into trouble.
All along the Strip, people are in a holiday weekend party mode. Like Carrie and Mike, who've driven down to Tybee Island for the long weekend. They met at work a year ago. Barely a month into their relationship, they move in together. This is their first vacation as a couple.
All right.
But maybe.
Wonderful.
These two hardly know each other, and now they're away for the first time in Party Central. We might be in for an episode of Couple Gone Wild.
At the bar, Carrie and Mike's private party of two is about to expand.
You guys are okay if we take this out of the bar, right?
Oh, sure, please. Free country. Welcome.
All yours. I'm Lacey, by the way.
Hi.
Carrie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Lacey and Jason are a young married couple in town for a 2-week vacation. Lacey met Jason at a party in college. She was a volleyball star. He was a Marine. 3 weeks into their relationship, they eloped to Las Vegas.
What's that saying? Fools rush in? Well, we've got two couples that are pretty impetuous when it comes to relationships. You bring them together, and it's anybody's guess what's going to go down.
Cheers.
Very quickly, the two couples hit it off. A few hours and many drinks later, the two couples are acting like they've known each other forever.
Vacation brain has a way of making everybody fast friends. Of course, throwing a whole lot of booze into the mix doesn't hurt either. But alcohol has a way of lowering inhibitions and dulling your senses. Let's just say your judgment might not be the most astute.
Why don't we head back?
Last call's approaching, but Lacey and Carrie are not ready for the night to be over.
Go back to our beach house.
Love it. That is a good idea if ever I heard one.
Lacey and Jason are staying in a beach house rental of Tybee Island's most upscale condo complex.
Hey, guys.
Oh, hey, we're on camera now.
Take a photo of us.
Oh, okay. Come here. All right. All right.
You got this.
All right, show me the magic. All right, you are a vision of loveliness. Excellent. There we are. Fantastic.
Oh, beautiful ring.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My purse is missing. Carrie, wake up. Where's my purse?
What do you mean?
It's gone. And my bracelet was in it. It's an $8,000 diamond bracelet.
Oh.
I saw you eyeing that bracelet at the bar.
You definitely had it at the bar.
Jason, she stole my purse.
What?
Come on, get up. Where is it? Check your pockets.
I'm not showing my pockets.
You don't have
This is all I have.
If you can't find it, we'll help you look for it. It's okay.
That bracelet.
Maybe you just left it at the
I saw
bar.
you. You were eyeing it at the bar.
We didn't do a thing. It's
Please,
okay.
You commented on it, and I know you stole it. Where is it?
I would not.
Please calm down.
Tell me to calm down.
What?
4 total strangers under the influence. Great. Inhibitions are low, so it's no surprise emotions are running high. We're in dangerous territory now. There's no way to actually know what anyone will do or what they're really up to.
The next day, it would appear that the previous night's drama was resolved.
Come on, baby, let's go.
Ready, baby? Let's go.
Jason and Lacey head out, taking full advantage of what Tibby Island has to offer.
Okay. You are gonna go right there.
Later, surrounded by her crafting tools, Lacey documents every moment of the weekend in her scrapbook.
Perfect.
She's been scrapbooking since she was a kid, and a little obsessed with it.
Oh, what a wonderful day.
Meanwhile, Carrie and Mike are no-shows for work.
All right, so how long? Oh, okay, so ever in that 15 years, did he ever show up late? Not even miss a meeting? It's not uncommon for people to extend their vacations. Rick, am I right? Yeah, it happens all the time. Bye.
Past behavior is usually a good indicator of future behavior. People aren't as wild and crazy as they'd like to think. In fact, the vast majority act according to predictable patterns. If Carrie and Mike have a history of being dependable, then not showing up for work should raise flags.
After 3 days and still no sign of Mike or Carrie, the police launch an official investigation. They distribute posters and post them around town. Detectives go to the couple's rental condo and find their car still parked in the driveway.
Suitcases look like they're still being lived out of. Clothes on the bed.
Inside, Carrie and Mike's personal items appear untouched.
Toothbrush looks like it has been used not too long ago.
Except there's no trace of their IDs, purse, or wallets.
No IDs could mean that Carrie and Mike have taken off on their own, or they've met with foul play. Missing persons cases are some of the toughest investigations you'll get. There's no body, there's no obvious crime scene, and people don't just vanish in a puff of smoke. They usually leave some trace behind. Actually, the fact that they disappeared without a trace is evidence in and of itself. So where do you start? You start with motive. You start by digging into their background.
Detectives do background checks on the couple and discover that Mike's cousin was murdered 2 years before. They wonder if he might have killed Carrie and gone on the run.
Hi. Hi, this is Detective Suarez. Can I speak to Michelle, please? Yes, Michelle. I'm calling in regards to your ex-husband, Mike.
But all the people they interview, including his ex-wife, the mother of his daughter, swear Mike is the kindest person they know.
Kindest? Okay.
He was absolutely devoted to Carrie. He's simply not capable of murder. Detectives track Mike's credit card to a popular bar on the Strip. When they question the bar staff, nobody remembers seeing Carrie and Mike.
No evidence or witnesses. That's a surefire sign of a case that could easily go cold. This is usually when you hope to catch a lucky break. And if you're hoping for a break, you're in trouble. And if there's one thing I've learned in my career, that break usually comes when the killer gets cocky and does something stupid. They may be criminals, but they are not Einsteins.
Meanwhile, unbeknownst to the police, the last 2 people Carrie and Mike might have been seen with have an itch they need to scratch. Turns out, Jason and Lacey are anything but the all-American couple. Jason was dishonorably discharged from the Marines for bad conduct. And soon after they got married, they got into partying and serious drugs. But the novelty wears off quickly, and burglary becomes their new rush. And their preferred fix? Ripping off the adult sex store chain Busted.
As gross as it sounds, for some people, committing a crime gives them the same thrill and excitement as does sex. But get away with it once and you start to get overconfident, and that's when things can go sideways. Trust me, sooner or later, you're gonna have an off night.
Lacey and Jason have no idea they've tripped the silent alarm.
Step away from the car. Down on your knees. Put your hands behind your head. Take the masks off, now.
Caught in the act, Lacey starts to have a full-blown panic attack.
On your back.
Please. I need my anxiety meds, please.
Where are they?
They're in my purse.
A burglar that suffers from panic attacks? I'm not sure she's in the right line of work.
What is all this?
But instead of pills, he finds Carrie and Mike's IDs.
What is this?
I don't know who they are. I found them on the beach.
When police search their car, they find a loaded Glock. Things aren't looking too good for our missing couple, Carrie and Mike.
This suggests to police that Lacey and Jason are into something more nefarious than your run-of-the-mill B&Es. There's no doubt these two are not in the right line of work. Instead of laying low, they commit a petty crime. They get caught and happen to be carrying incriminating evidence on them. Can you spell D-U-M-B?
Detectives suspect Jason and Lacey of kidnapping Carrie and Mike, given the items they were carrying during their arrest. But there's no sign of Carrie or Mike at Jason and Lacey's beach house rental. Instead, they find empty bullet casings, a missing door to a bedroom, paint and cleaning supplies. And on the carpet near the bed, 2 more cartridges with what looks like dried blood on them. And on the side of the bed, blood stains.
The lengths people will go to try and cover up a crime always gets me. But a word to the wise, there's no way a lick of fresh paint will ever eliminate all the traces of blood and DNA. And if you're gonna murder someone, you might not want to leave spent bullet casings lying around in plain sight.
All right, Jason. I got a lot of time. Where are they?
As CSI continue to search the house, detectives put Jason in the hot seat.
I know you know where they are. DNA's right over here. Nothing? Why is the door missing from your door frame? Why are there cleaning supplies? Why is there paint? Doing a little remodeling? No? See if you start speaking with these. Shell casings found in your apartment. Is that for the mister? This one for the missus? Where are they, Jason?
But Jason's not saying a thing.
To make a murder conviction stick beyond a reasonable doubt, you need bodies. But if one member of this criminal tag team isn't talking, that's when you go work the other.
You know what this is right here? DNA report.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
It was a rental. It wasn't my place.
Oh, yeah? Well then, explain this. Bullet casings found in the apartment, 1 and number 2. Tell me where they are. All right? At this point, it's you against Jason. You need to do what's right.
Detectives present Lacey with a proposition. Reduce time if she tells them what happened.
Jason did it. He fired 2 bullets through the door, and...
Lacey tells police that Jason killed both victims and forced her to help him with the cover-up.
he forced me to clean it up.
She claims she's terrified of him.
You don't understand, he's crazy. he got back from the Marines, he wasn't the same. He'd have night terrors, and he had to have everything a certain way. And he bought a gun for me for protection.
Wake up! Lacey, wake up, I got you something. Come on, get up. Are you ready? You ready? Do you want to see it? Take it.
I don't.
Take it!
He became fascinated with killing. He talked about murdering someone completely random.
Bang!
No obvious motive makes it easier to get away with it, and he wanted Lacey
Bang!
to help.
You like it? You love it, don't you?
Yeah.
It's ours now.
Okay.
I love you.
But I was scared I was gonna have to use it to him.
It's not unusual for an abused wife to fall in line because she fears retaliation from her husband. And Lacey just painted a pretty compelling picture of Jason's motive and means for targeting Carrie and Mike. They were complete strangers. Right now, he looks good as the mastermind behind the murders.
See, I gave you an opportunity to come clean, but it's fine because Lacey said you did it.
But when detectives tell Jason Lacey pinned the murder on him, he breaks his silence.
She's insane. She's completely insane.
Jason tells police that once they got married, Lacey became increasingly jealous and possessive and wanted him to cut all ties with his Marine buddies.
Hey, babe.
She would freak out if he even got home late.
Where have you been?
I was
Where have you
at work.
been, Jason?
I was at work.
You were at work? This late? And you didn't call?
Okay,
You were out with your friends, weren't you?
only for a bit. We were just
Marine
talking.
friends, weren't you? Is that who you were out with?
Babe, I'm sorry.
What did I tell you about those guys? I told you not to see them.
And I'm sorry. Baby.
Don't get near me.
I wasn't there when it happened. I was asleep in my car. I didn't even hear the shots. When I came in, they were both already dead. She was freaking out. Yeah, I helped her cut up the bodies.
Jason claims Lacey's the real killer. I can't tell you how common it is during an interrogation at the FBI for people to turn on their supposed loved ones to save their own skin. Till death do us part, right? No. Apparently, he was napping in his car when Lacey killed Mike and Carrie in a drug and alcohol-induced rage. He just helped her dismember and dispose of the bodies. Oh, is that all? No problem. Police need to find Mike and Carrie's bodies. That's the only way they're gonna figure out what really happened that night. And make sure neither of these two lovebirds get away with murder.
After striking a deal for a more lenient sentence in exchange for her cooperation, Lacey tells the police she and Jason drove across state lines and dumped Mike and Carrie's bodies in a dumpster. Police find the partial remains in a landfill. The only part of Carrie they recover is her right arm. All they find of Mike is his upper torso and head. The lab removes a slug from Mike's head, and it matches the Glock the police found in Jason and Lacey's car. The evidence CSI has collected from the beach house rental is filling in the blanks. But it's Lacey's scrapbook that seals the deal. In it, there's a photo of Lacey wearing Mike's ring on a chain around her neck.
Keeping souvenirs to sit back and relive the crime over and over is sick, but it's something killers do because they're sick. But most don't lay them out in a collage with pretty paper and glitter and hearts. The evidence does not support our scrapbooker's claim that her husband did all the dirty work.
Part of Lacey's plea deal is to pass a polygraph test first.
What I found here. Crazy for scrapbooking.
But when she's confronted with the scrapbook, she cracks.
There we got you, sporty me. Nice little butterflies. Butterflies your thing? the best day ever. You guys can recreate this photo in the prison chapel. Ooh.
Fine. Met them at the bar. And they came back to the house. And things got a little out of hand. You are gonna help me find it because you know exactly where it is.
Just calm down.
There's
nothing. Let's tell the bar.
Down.
What the hell?
Shit.
I knew they weren't gonna get away. Come on. You wanna do it? Do it. Let's do it. Do it, Jason!
You're a monster. Please.
For his part in the crime, Jason is convicted of murder and sentenced to 40 years. As for Lacey, she's convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life, plus 25 years.
What baffles me about this murder is that these two couples didn't even know each other. Carrie and Mike were simply at the wrong place at the wrong time. Lacey and Jason aren't your average killers either. It's a case of committing murder simply for kicks. When drugs and partying stop doing it for them, they turn to burglary to get their fix. And when that wore thin, they decided to kill for sport. They needed a higher dose. They treated the entire crime like some game, absolutely no remorse. The only motive here is the thrill and excitement of not getting caught. They brought out the worst in each other. She was the dynamite and he was the match, and together, the thrill may be gone, but at least Lacey's, she's still got her scrapbook.
My life inside.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, when a wannabe social media star claims to have been the sole survivor of a late-night attack, she declares herself #blessed. But when police launch their investigation, nothing seems to add up, leaving them to ask how the attack really went down in #real life. Maureen, the manager of a local outdoor clothing and activity store, arrives at work one morning to find the front door unlocked. Assuming the supervisor from the night before has failed to close properly, Maureen simply continues on with her morning routine until she discovers a horrific scene.
I need the police. And maybe an ambulance?
When they arrive, police search the store.
Please help me.
There, they discover the two 20-somethings who were scheduled to close the night before.
Please help me.
Emma is traumatized but alive. Her supervisor, Taylor, however, isn't so lucky.
On the surface, this looks to be a robbery gone wrong. Very, very wrong. You've got one girl who's alive but badly injured, and another who's dead, having been beaten almost beyond recognition. My experience in the FBI tells me that you don't generally see this level of violence with a robbery gone wrong. They generally stop when you're dead. So I'm thinking there's more to this than meets the eye.
Emma, a budding lifestyle blogger and social media influencer, gives her statement to police.
It was horrible. Poor Taylor. She was my bestie. We closed up the store like we always do. Okay. It was so great. I know. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Mwah, mwah. Love you. Bye. But then I realized I forgot my house keys and my wallet, so I called Taylor and asked her, do you mind coming back and letting me in to get them? So Taylor came back.
Just as Taylor was unlocking the door, two men rushed out of the shadows, grabbing the women and forcing them inside.
You, around there!
What?
Get around there and open the register!
I can't, it's locked!
Stop lying to me!
No, we already deposited it, there's nothing in there!
Open it up or I'm gonna hit you!
You're not listening, there's nothing I can do! No! Oh, run! Oh! No! No! No!
Emma becomes emotional as she describes hearing Taylor being beaten to death in the next room before being dragged in there herself.
And then I saw her lying there dead.
Emma says the men began panicking when they realized Taylor was dead. Terrified she would be next, Emma took a chance and pleaded for the men to spare her life.
Then I begged them not to kill me. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Please don't. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I couldn't tell who they were, so I swore I wasn't going to tell anybody what happened. Don't kill me.
Don't say anything, and we'll come back and kill you too. Come on, let's go.
Taylor!
I'm surprised that Emma was left alive. I mean, most of the time, criminals who are willing to beat and stab one young woman to death don't leave another alive to serve as an eyewitness to their crimes. Isn't that the reason they killed the other one? In fact, it's so unusual that Emma should be writing to the Pope because she just got her miracle.
As she finishes her tragic tale, Emma seems overcome by guilt.
If it weren't for me, Taylor would still be alive.
Detective Armstrong assures Emma that he'll do everything he can to bring Taylor's killers to justice.
Thank you.
The thing with victims like Emma, young, pretty, the whole bit, is that people see them as infallible. They can't lie or be mistaken. I mean, how could they when they look so innocent? But if there's one thing we should have learned by now in this age of social media, it's that the image and the truth don't always go hand in hand.
Emma soon discovers that surviving tragedy is a fast track to gaining followers. It only takes one post for her social media to go from recreational to aspirational. As Emma's harrowing attack goes viral, panic grips the town, and parents fear their children could be the assailant's next target.
Young people being randomly kidnapped or killed while their parents think they're safely at work, that's straight out of the Parents' Worst Nightmares handbook, which means one thing. There's going to be a lot of pressure to solve this case and solve it fast.
Detective Armstrong works around the clock, and his efforts soon pay off. Within a day, he finds two men dressed all in black on the store's security footage. Could these be the mystery assailants who attacked Emma and Taylor?
Emma's story of survival might be a social media sensation, but her story is anything but on fleek.
Armstrong.
Detective Armstrong tracks down the men from the security footage, but soon learns they simply cut through the strip mall's parking lot on their way to a party. With solid alibis for the remainder of the night, they're eliminated as suspects. When Detective Armstrong re-examines the crime scene, he discovers another issue. Emma said that there were 2 attackers, but there's only 1 pair of men's bloody footprints in the store, suggesting a single assailant.
There's a few reasons a victim's story may not check out. They may be traumatized so badly that they get details wrong. I've seen that. They may be so scared of their attackers that they lie to the police. Or they may lie to cover up something even worse.
As Detective Armstrong continues his investigation, he focuses his attention on single assailants who could have come into the store, and soon receives a flood of tips about one man.
Armstrong.
Sam. When Detective Armstrong looks into Sam's background, he finds a long rap sheet of petty crimes, as well as a history of being aggressive with women around town.
It's clear that Sam has no respect for law or women, and he hangs out at a local pool hall, which just happens to be down the street from the store Emma works at. And if that's not enough to raise a red flag, old Sam is often seen cutting across the strip mall parking lot en route to the pool hall. Yeah, that's enough to bring him in.
But when Detective Armstrong goes looking for Sam, he's not at his favorite hangout spot, but at the hospital, after getting into a fight a couple of nights before.
Sam, I'm Detective Armstrong. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
I guess. The man he finds is nothing like who the tipsters described.
We've been thinking Sam could be a cold-blooded killer who overpowered 2 young, active women, brutally murdering one of them. But this guy, he doesn't look like he could even take me down. And look at me, I'm old, I'm retired.
Detective Armstrong shifts his focus, hoping to still get some information out of his visit.
I'm investigating a murder that took place at the strip mall on the 5th.
I was in the strip mall.
You were in the strip mall?
I cut through there in the evening.
You cut through there what time, Sam?
About 10, I guess.
The night of the murder, Sam cut through the mall parking lot after the time Emma claims the women were pushed into the store.
Now, did you see anything? Anything out of the ordinary?
I didn't see anything.
You didn't see anything?
I heard lots of screaming and yelling.
Sam says he could hear raised voices from people arguing in the store.
Sam, how many men's voices did you hear?
Detective Armstrong gets an answer he never expected.
No men. Women.
Sam claims there were just 2 women yelling that night. Well, that doesn't line up with Emma's report, but let's face it, Sam isn't the most reliable witness. So the question becomes, whose statement is accurate, Sam's or Emma's?
Hoping for clarity, Detective Armstrong turns to store manager Maureen, who immediately raises her own doubts about Emma's story.
I just want to ask you a few questions about Emma and Taylor's friendship.
Friends. Emma and Taylor were never that close.
Really?
Maureen says that not only were Emma and Taylor not besties,
Okay, bag check time.
but Taylor had just accused Emma of stealing from the store.
Okay, yours?
Oh.
Okay, oh,
Oh, yeah, I bought that earlier.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Well, the receipt is in the cash, and the cash is locked, so I'll be sure to show Maureen first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Thank you. After you.
Taylor sent Emma home, telling her they'd discuss the issue again in the morning. Once she left, though, Taylor became increasingly convinced that Emma had stolen the tank top.
Hey, Maureen, it's Taylor. Listen, I don't want to have to do this, but
Taylor told me Emma had a swim scholarship at college and she lost it and she got kicked off the team when she was caught stealing.
Really?
Emma had been the star of her swim team and her future looked set. But she was unable to stop stealing and eventually was kicked out of school.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
There are two types of theft, normal theft and obsessive. Normal theft is deliberate and motivated. They want something, an item, or the cash they can get from selling it. Obsessive theft is more random. Most of the time, they don't even know why, but they can't stop themselves. This second kind of theft often points to larger issues.
That okay?
Emma could have paid for that top, but instead, she pulls a full-on Winona Ryder.
Emma had only just gotten her life back on track, developing an online presence and getting her job at the store. But now, a single tank top could derail her again. Detective Armstrong has concerns about Emma's story, and these only increase when he learns that Taylor's car has been found a block away from the store, with Emma's fingerprints and blood in it.
If it were just Emma's fingerprints and they were, say, on the passenger side, it would be easy to believe she got a ride home from work with Taylor one day. But her fingerprints and the blood were on the steering wheel. And that can only mean one thing. She was driving that car the night of the murder, and the perpetrators would never let her do that unless they're from the Dumb and Dumber school of kidnapping.
When Detective Armstrong confronts Emma.
Okay, Emma, I have a question for you. We found your DNA in Taylor's car from the night of the murder.
She immediately breaks down.
Oh my gosh. I totally forgot.
She tells Detective Armstrong that the men who attacked her had seen Taylor's car double parked in front of the store.
Someone's gonna notice the car outside, and we're gonna get busted. You, go move the car.
What?
Don't move the car.
And they said if I wasn't back in 10 minutes that they were gonna kill me.
Emma claims she did exactly as she was told, parking the car a block away, then returning straight to the store.
Say you're in a hostage situation. You're the hostage, and the perps holding you hand you your car keys and tell you to be back in 10 minutes. Don't do it. Run away. Get away. Get your ass in that car and call the police. Even if there are still people being held hostage, your best bet is calling the police and then doing what the police tell you to, not playing nice with your kidnappers and hoping they'll take pity on you and let you live. They're not nice.
And I'm so sorry. I forgot. I remember now. The trauma from the night.
Like memory issues, trauma can lead to amnesia as people's brains literally block out aspects of the event they can't deal with. So it's completely possible that Emma had temporary amnesia. We get that. But most victims of crime don't leave out only those parts that might incriminate them. That's not temporary amnesia. That's convenient amnesia. And you usually only see that with people who have something to hide.
Detective Armstrong isn't convinced by his eyewitness's latest story, so returns to the scene of Taylor's murder, hoping to get some new insight on the case. After a short search, he makes a monumental discovery, a knife that could be the murder weapon. He preps it to be sent out for DNA testing.
This case is all about he said, she said. So finding a potential murder weapon, one that could have DNA evidence on it, is just what we need to figure out who's telling the truth and who's using a rose-tinted filter on their story.
Detective Armstrong goes over the rest of the crime scene with a fine-tooth comb. And soon hits pay dirt. A bloody shoe from a brand sold at the store. When he checks his new discovery against the male footprints in the store, he finds a perfect match.
So not only were these mopes letting their hostages have yelling fights and sending a hostage out to move a car, but now one is taking off his shoes to put on new shoes, walking around in them for a little while and then leaving them at the murder scene. If it weren't for Taylor's very real dead body, I think I was being punked.
Police send the shoes out for testing, and when the results come back, they clear up a lot of questions.
The blood on the outside of the shoe is Taylor's, and the DNA on the inside is Emma's. That means Emma handled those shoes the night of the murder. And what does that tell us? It says that Emma not only killed her coworker, but then went to elaborate lengths to cover it up, even inventing fake assailants and playing the victim. The problem was that Emma assumed police would automatically buy into whatever she told them. And in doing so, she broke one of the criminal commandments. Thou shalt never underestimate the popo.
Detective Armstrong confronts Emma, who sticks to her story.
Detective, I swear I'm the victim here.
But this time, Detective Armstrong isn't buying it.
I know there were no men there that night. The story does not add up. Tell me what happened that night.
He pushes Emma for the truth. And finally, it comes tumbling out.
Got all the details.
I did what I had to do. I stole the shirt, and she was gonna rat me out.
And once the two women parted ways for the night, she had obsessed about how Taylor was going to get her fired the next day. Hoping to talk to Taylor before she could report the incident, Emma called her, claiming to have forgotten her wallet and house keys in the store.
Emma tells police she just wanted Taylor to come back so they could have a private conversation. But you know where else you can have a private conversation? On the phone. If you ask me, Emma might not have known she was going to kill Taylor when she called, but she'd already decided to do whatever was necessary to make this situation go away.
Hey.
Hey, thanks so much.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about it.
Taking the responsibilities of her job seriously, Taylor came right back to the store. She even offered to help look for the lost wallet and keys.
Where do you think you left them? It's behind here?
But Emma had other things on her mind.
No, I don't see anything.
If you say anything, my life will be ruined. Again. Please don't tell Maureen that I took the tank top.
Emma had her life fall apart once before because of stealing, and then just when she felt she'd gotten back on track, she saw everything about to slip away again. And that's when she went into self-preservation mode. And the problem with that is this. Even if people seem rational at first, when they get into self-preservation mode, anything can happen.
Emma, I'm really sorry. I already called Maureen.
Why would you do that?
I wasn't trying to get you in trouble. It's just...
Is your life so horrible that you had to ruin mine too?
Calm down.
Do not tell me to calm down.
I'm out of here. I have to go.
Taylor. Ah!
People who engage in obsessive theft are often really not concerned about how their actions impact others. They're addicted to the rush they get from breaking the law and getting away with it. Because of those things, we often see people who engage in obsessive theft escalate their criminal behavior over time. If you ask me, Emma was in a panic and a rage when she hit Taylor that first time. But once she got a taste of the violence, she found that the rush she got from that was even better than theft. And that's why she bludgeoned Taylor to death. She didn't want that moment to end. Emma may have done the crime, but she didn't want to do the time. So she moved Taylor's car to give herself a chance to cover her tracks. Then, realizing she couldn't, she decided to make new ones.
Knowing she couldn't get rid of the shoes that night, Emma hid them in the store, planning to come back for them later. Once the scene was set, Emma gave herself just enough injuries to make her story believable. Then settled in and waited to be found the following morning.
Please help me. Oh, no, it's not good. Okay. Help me. Please help me.
Emma was so desperate to hold on to her life and her online status that she was willing to literally bleed for it. That shows the same kind of extreme behavior and impulse control issues that I suspect led her to steal and then to kill.
Having heard her confession, Detective Armstrong charges Emma with first-degree murder.
Emma, you're under arrest.
Emma is convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison.
Emma apparently got confused between slay the day and slay your coworker. It's easy to do. And so in trying to save herself from being fired over stealing, she got herself locked up for murder. Talk about your epic fail.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, Murphy's having a great night. Just 3 weeks ago, Murphy couldn't pay his tab.
It's me again.
But tonight, the drinks are on the house, and they feed Murphy as much alcohol as he likes.
This is costing us money.
But all is not as it seems.
Make it look like an accident.
Prohibition-era Chicago is no place for fools. Black Tuesday was a day that shook the world. The complete crash of the 1929 stock market triggered the infamous Great Depression. By 1932, 15 million Americans are out of work. And making matters worse, Prohibition was still in full force. So you couldn't even drown your sorrows in a tumbler of gin, unless it's in an illegal establishment, commonly known as a speakeasy.
Never better. Hit me with another if you don't mind. Tastes like more, as they say.
Meet Murphy. Murphy hasn't always been a shameless drunk. As a young lad fresh off the boat from County Cork, Ireland, he had big dreams. He became a beat cop in Chicago, but lost his job when the drink got the better of him. And when the economy fell off a cliff, things went from bad to worse. Now, when Murphy isn't pissed, he walks dogs and cleans windows part-time for lunch money.
Like thousands of other men in Depression-era Chicago, Murphy spends most nights sleeping rough. He's got no family, and his only friends are the fellow barflies who haunt the speakeasies of downtown Chi-Town. The poor guy owes money to almost every juice joint in town.
Give me one more, Nicky.
Forget about it. You're done. You're cut off.
Come on, Nicky, you'll get your money.
Times are tough. Do you understand?
Just one more for old time's sake.
Forget about it.
It's Nicky's joint, and like so many others, He's cut off Murphy's credit.
How you doing there, fella?
But he lets the old Irishman hang around and sweet-talk drinks from customers, charmed by his tall Irish tales.
Listen, could you help a fella out who's down on his luck?
Nicky's struggling just as much as the next guy. There's a price war raging in Chicago's illicit liquor trade, and his business is hanging on for dear life.
Money can be a dangerous temptation. Good people will do bad things to get their hands on it. Surprise! I know of a case where a guy stabbed his best friend to death over $20, a half-eaten sandwich, and 3 cigarettes. Like they say, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Diamonds.
Thank you.
Nicky and his crew are generally good guys. They come from all walks of life, but have one thing in common: the depression. Each guy is as broke as the next.
All the numbers at the bar. You tell me.
His bartender, Joe, is a former chemist who lost his shirt in the crash of '29.
It's been brutal out there.
How can it be bad to drive people around?
Danny's a chauffeur. Not too many fares these days. It's hard times for these fellas. They need a fix. But what?
Crime goes up when times are tough. You're always going to have your professional criminals, but when work is scarce and you've got nothing but time on your hands, regular folks start sniffing around. Suddenly, the idea of breaking the law, it ain't so bad.
I almost miss my ex-girlfriend, you know. She died a few months ago.
Nicky's girlfriend recently passed, and the only beneficiary to her life insurance was him. Nicky made off with $1,000, which gets him thinking.
You know what we need to do, boys? We need to make our own luck. Let's say we find you a brother.
A brother?
A brother. You take out an insurance policy on him.
What if they find someone they can create false identification for? Then Joe takes out a healthy insurance policy on his brother.
He collects a policy, and we split it 3 ways.
So you get a fake brother and wait for him to die? How does that help us?
This brother unfortunately has an accident.
They kill the guy and get the insurance money. They divvy up the moolah. Done.
Just as long as the autopsy says he died by accident.
I like this. I like this. You get it now?
That's how we make our luck and we make our money.
Okay, yeah.
So do you think we can find a sucker in this town?
Yeah, Chicago's crawling with them.
Well, boys, we got some work to do to change our luck.
Nowadays, it's pretty tough to get away with an insurance scam like this. The insurance companies are all over this stuff, as are the police. But 80 years ago, not so much. Nicky and his gang of geniuses are actually on to something here. All you need to do is find somebody washed up with no family who no one would notice or care if they went missing. What they need is a nobody.
Hey, Murphy, come on over for a drink. We missed you.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Where have you been all this time?
Oh, you know, just here and there. Thank you very much.
Murphy is the perfect mark, the kind of person no one will miss. And the plan is simple. Murphy will accidentally drink himself to death, and Joe will collect the insurance money and divvy it up with the other 3 schemers. I mean, a drunk like Murphy already has 1 foot in the grave, right? Right? Or so they rationalize.
With the help of an unscrupulous insurance agent, Joe takes out no less than 3 life insurance policies on his brother, Murphy, for $3,500.
Sign it within 10 days?
$3,500 divided by 3 nets each man about $1,160.
Thank you, sir.
Worth just over $20,000 today.
Do us this favor. Sign the paper, and you can have as much as you want to drink. I promise.
I just got a sign.
That's right.
This guy signs my brother. That's it.
When you offer a whale like Murphy free booze, he'll do pretty much whatever you want. Sign an illegal document for you? No problem. Hell, he might even sign his own death warrant for that precious juice.
All right. Round of drinks for everyone.
To Murphy.
To Murphy.
To Murphy.
Cheers.
For the next week, Murphy binge drinks all day and night.
I don't know what's with this guy. That's like his 30th drink today.
I don't know, but I don't like it. This guy's unbelievable. He's not human.
Murphy is somehow actually invigorated by the 24-hour diet of liquor. He's a new man. It's like he's drinking from the elixir of life itself.
Worried about the escalating cost to the bar, Nikki and Joe start serving him the bathtub hooch, with which Chicago is awash. It's dangerous stuff that's blinded and killed many since the start of Prohibition. Surely this will finish Murphy off. But no siree. Murphy just keeps on going.
It's been over a week, and this guy still ain't done. All I asked was for someone stupid and simple. What do I find? Lazarus.
That's why we're using this.
A tin can?
No, it's antifreeze, you idiot.
You got car problems?
No. I used to be a chemist, all right? I'm gonna mix together a little cocktail. It's gonna put this prick out for good.
Hey.
Huh? Huh?
Huh?
Yeah?
Huh?
Nikki and the gang are losing patience. A little antifreeze mixed into his whiskey ought to do the trick.
You feeling all right there, Murph?
Never better. Hit me again, if you'd be so kind.
Not even a drink laced with antifreeze slows Murphy down.
You guys want to explain to me how he's still alive? This is costing us money. Huh?
I don't know, Joe. What happened to your fancy cocktail idea?
I don't know, Danny. I don't see you doing anything. This guy's a machine. Any ideas? That's what I thought. Useless.
All right, listen. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna pour him a full glass of antifreeze. No mix, no nothing. Straight, just the antifreeze. We gotta have this guy dead fast.
The gang is now banking that this is the remedy that finally does him in. Murphy is costing them more money each day in alcohol, and the upcoming premiums are really going to bite. And these boys need a solid return on their investment.
Hey, Murphy. We got some special hooch for you today.
Well, lovely.
Oh, yeah.
Do we ever? Here you go, Murph.
Well, I'd say no, but it'd be impolite. It smells a bit funny.
Yeah, it's just the strength. It's strong.
It's not a great taste, eh, Joe?
Does the job, though, Murph.
That's good stuff. Expensive. Come on, Murph. Attaboy.
Oh. Seems like Nikki and Joe have finally done it. A full glass of antifreeze is all it took in the end. Now they have to call a doctor and tell them that Murphy just drank himself to death.
Hello, Doc? Yeah, it's Nicky. He fell over like a sack of potatoes. He's done. Done like dinner. Huh? Hang on. Doc, I'm gonna call you back.
Hit me again.
What's it gonna take to put Murphy down? I mean, this guy is indestructible. It's like all those years of hard drinking has pickled him. Not even some nasty bathtub gin or a pint of antifreeze has made a dent, and antifreeze usually does. This guy isn't mortal, and the longer he lives, the more he drinks through Nikki's measly profits. If they want the life insurance money, they gotta make it look accidental.
I don't get it. Suggestions. Booze doesn't kill him. Antifreeze doesn't kill him. Come on. Give me some ideas here.
All right. So this one time I was working for a florist.
Danny recalls a story of a young man who dropped dead after eating raw oysters.
Raw oysters.
Yeah.
What can we lose? Well, what are we waiting for? Let's feed them raw oysters. Let's go.
You hungry, Murph?
Well, that's very kind of you. As always, I wouldn't say no.
Lovely. You enjoying that, Murphy?
That's good. What's in it?
They move from oysters to rancid sardines, topped off with some delicious carpet staples and pieces of shaved metal for good luck.
Just like Mother used to make.
They try more gourmet sandwiches, this time with tacks and ground glass.
Bit crunchy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the seeds, Murph, and the bread.
That's lovely.
Still nothing. Murphy seems better than ever. Desperate, they get risky and top up Murphy's drinks with rat poison, turpentine.
Oh, like the tears of an angel.
Horse liniment. Sure, this could raise a suspicion of murder, but they've got to do something, and fast.
Really? This be again.
Really?
Murphy knocks it all back like a champ.
Murphy is costing them money. With every day that Murphy stays alive, they lose money. What a jerk. With 3 sets of expensive insurance policies out on him, the premiums are starting to add up. It's becoming a bad return on their investment. There's a ticking clock to this crime. They have to kill Murphy before he's no longer valuable. It's a good thing these clowns aren't bankers.
At this point, Nicky and the gang are at a loss. The old drunk is superhuman. The man's stomach is a trash compactor. Clearly, a new approach is needed. Nicky explains to the guys that his girlfriend froze to death sleeping outside overnight. Should do the trick with Murphy. Given Murphy's superhuman status, they want to take things up a notch.
Oh, this guy's gonna be so blotto, he's not gonna know what hit him. Oh, yeah.
Man?
Take off the shirt.
Gonna go.
Yeah, just take it off. Hurry up, I'm freezing. Oh, yeah. He's gonna be like an ice cube tomorrow. Let's go.
Let's get out of here.
These idiots will do just about anything to get rid of their good pal Murphy before it doesn't make any more financial sense. They already tried a broken glass sandwich with a rat poison chaser. Sure, why not leave him out overnight in the middle of January? You talk about cold-blooded.
The next day, the gang eagerly scans the papers for news of a homeless man found frozen to death overnight. But there's nothing to be found.
It's a bit chilly out there, fellas.
Full disclosure, I don't have a medical degree to back this up, but over my years at the FBI, we encountered a number of freaks of nature that could take more punishment than regular people, like a 120-pound woman lifting a burning truck off her son who was trapped beneath it. Murphy, rest assured, is definitely one of these types.
The gang is forced to call in outside expertise. One of Nicky's clients goes by the name of Tough Tommy. He's just the guy they need.
You need to take this Murphy character out.
Tommy, you don't understand. This guy's tough as nails.
Use a bigger hammer.
Tough Tommy is a real gangster, not like Nicky and his pals.
Ain't he a driver? You got a car.
Tommy offers up the easiest solution possible. Run Murphy over with a car. Happens all the time, especially to drunks wandering the streets at night. Makes a ton of sense.
Real simple. It should be easy for you guys.
Come to think about it, why didn't Nicky and the guys start with this? Shaved metal sandwiches with a shot of turpentine?
It's the middle of the night when Nicky and Joe put their latest plan into action. Murphy is too blotto to know what's going on.
Let's go. All right, Danny, go get the car. Hold him up straight. Rev it up, Danny. Rev it up. Come on, fast.
Driving full steam ahead right into the poor bastard wasn't enough. Seriously? They figure they better back over poor Murphy a couple of times just for good measure. I guess they gotta go for broke at this point.
The next day, there's nothing in the newspapers about the body of a run-over drunk being found, so they call around. But there's no corpse matching Murphy's description in any local morgue.
Now these guys have a real problem. Without a body, they can't collect. And Murphy, it seems, has vanished and taken the insurance money with him. At this point, they've got no choice but to find Murphy, dead or alive.
Fearing and half expecting he actually survived, they call every hospital in the city.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine. He's around 50 years old, big blue eyes, Irish accent, smells like liquor. He's gotta be there. What? Double check. Come on, this is the last hospital in the whole city. He's gotta be there. No, that's impossible.
Day after day passes, with no sign of Murphy.
And that home run, bottom of the ninth, what a play.
Hey, Nicky.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm dying for a drink.
That's impossible.
You wouldn't believe what happened to me. I woke up in the hospital. They told me I'd been hit by a car.
You don't say.
Yeah. The policeman didn't find any ID on me, so they figured I was a bum. They didn't register me.
Huh?
Aside from a crick in the neck, I'm as fit as a fiddle. And I sure am a thirsty fiddle. You wouldn't mind setting me up for a drink, would you?
Oh, God.
Murphy is truly indestructible. People are talking about him like he was the Rasputin of Chicago. Hell, I'd believe it. Word on the street is that the old Irish drunk just cannot be killed.
Unbelievable. I can't believe this guy is still alive. He's like a freak of nature.
Tell you what we do. Put a bullet in his head.
We can't put a bullet in his head, all right? The insurance policy doesn't pay. Then all this work goes down for nothing. We need a home run. 100%.
The gang is frantic. They have to kill Murphy now, or they'll never get the return on their investment. They need a sure thing. They try something even Murphy won't be able to survive. A pillow soaked in chloroform will both keep him unconscious as well as ensure death by suffocation.
Sweet dreams, Murphy. Done now, huh?
Stubborn prick.
Bastard.
In the end, not even Murphy can survive massive heart failure caused by suffocation. They take Murphy's dead body to Dr. Lynch, a crooked doctor they promised to cut in on the insurance money. Pneumonia is listed as the cause of death. Joe immediately sets out to collect the insurance money.
Not sure why these geniuses are patting themselves on the back for finally getting the job done. It only took them a couple dozen tries. You don't get a medal for that. And in the end, they resorted to suffocating the guy. Oh yeah, that looks real accidental. People accidentally suffocate all the time.
It took months and more than 24 attempts before Nicky and the gang finally killed Murphy. They spent $1,875 to cash in on a $3,500 policy.
Murphy might be gone, But unfortunately for the gang, he is far from forgotten. Rumors of the indestructible barfly, now widely known across town as Iron Murphy, reach the coppers, and to them, it looks a lot like murder. They open an investigation, and the remaining 2 policies are put on ice.
Murphy's body is exhumed, and it doesn't take long for the authorities to determine that Murphy did not die of natural causes. The police grill Dr. Lynch, the shady character who signed Murphy's death certificate, stating the cause of death as pneumonia.
I'm not surprised the good doctor sings like a canary when the police put the screws to him. After all, this is a guy who signs fake death certificates to earn some extra scratch. And it isn't long before the gang is rounded up and dubbed the Syndicate of Sin by the press.
The trial is front-page news and the talk of the town. Dr. Lynch gets off easy and is sent to the big house for 3 months. Nikki, Joe, and Danny don't make off quite so lucky. All 3 are given the death penalty.
Electric chairs back then were notoriously unreliable, and it often took a few tries before they did the job. Ironically, Nikki, Joe, and Danny all fry on the first attempt, but isn't that just their luck? The so-called Syndicate of Sin thought they'd hatched the perfect get-rich-quick scheme, but they didn't count on the insane fortitude of Iron Murphy, or the fact that all 3 of them are grade A idiots.
The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders,
You don't have a shred of evidence against my client.
Patrick is a big-shot attorney with a reputation as a ladies' man. But when he meets the woman of his dreams, he's hooked.
Marry me.
Beautiful, smart, and hiding more secrets than the Pentagon.
I'll let him know that you called, okay?
He's got no idea.
Yeah!
She's about to become his worst nightmare. Savannah, Georgia. A city overflowing with good old Southern charm and hospitality. But also a hot spot for crime. And the domain of the sharply dressed gentleman and criminal lawyer, Patrick.
You don't have a shred of evidence against my client. I'll have this charge thrown out before your coffee gets cold.
Oozing charisma and smarts, Patrick is a consummate showman. He's the go-to guy for everyone, from trust fund kids charged with sexual assault to murderous drug dealers. Patrick is a larger-than-life figure in and out of the courtroom. He's been married and divorced 3 times. Patrick may be a high flyer, but he's not without his demons. He's well known for going on benders, disappearing for days before sobering up and getting back to work.
Patrick is what we call a high-functioning alcoholic. He may think he's always in control, but like any addict, he's prone to making some pretty impulsive moves. It's that mentality that can open you up to trouble, no matter how smart you think you are.
You have a resume for me?
I do.
Patrick meets Amanda when she comes in to interview for a paralegal position.
So, why do you think you're a good fit for the job here?
Well, Patrick. Can I call you Patrick?
Yeah.
He's immediately taken with her.
It's gotta be here, Amanda.
There,
Amanda quickly establishes herself as an outstanding employee.
right?
You're right. Excellent work. Excellent.
She's quick to impress, both at work and during off hours.
You are something else, you know that?
Amanda is different than any other woman he's met before, or married.
You're smart. You're beautiful.
Patrick falls hard and fast. Very soon, they're in a serious relationship.
I think you got something behind your ear. No, this one right here.
And when Patrick pops the question,
Marry me.
Just try and stop me.
Amanda doesn't hesitate.
I guess Patrick never heard of the old saying, marry in haste, repent at your leisure. But he's one of those guys who can't stand being alone. Who knows? Maybe fourth time's a charm. Good luck. He's just proposed to the woman he barely knows. Sure, she's beautiful and good at her job, but who is she really? Married life always has a way of unpacking everybody's baggage sooner or later.
Amanda and Patrick settle into what looks like wedded bliss.
Good morning, sweetheart.
Thanks, babe.
Breakfast is served. Pancakes your favorite.
Patrick loves taking care of his new wife.
With a side of diamond.
That is so beautiful.
For you.
Oh, wow. I love it. Thanks, babe.
And in turn,
Yeah, come on, princess! Get moving, get moving!
Amanda opens up a whole new world for Patrick
Come on! Yes!
when she introduces him to her passion, horse racing.
She's on! She's on! She's coming! She's coming! She's coming! Yeah! We are in the money!
From his first derby in mint julep, Patrick is hooked. And it doesn't take long for Amanda to convince Patrick to buy their own racehorse.
Oh my God!
Sweet.
Soon, they're in the winner's circle.
What?
But a few months after their wedding,
Doesn't make sense.
Patrick discovers the woman of his dreams isn't as perfect as he thought she was. The state bar accuses Amanda of embezzling nearly $100,000 from client trust accounts and siphoning it back into the firm.
They're accusing you of embezzling $100,000. Like, what do you have to say for yourself?
I don't know what to say.
When Patrick confronts her,
You have to forgive me.
Amanda offers no explanation.
Her husband's loaded, but she deliberately steals from his clients. What's the payoff? Either Amanda's not a very good thief or this is emotional blackmail. She's testing the limits of Patrick's love for her. Now, I call that some kind of baggage.
Instead of letting Amanda pay the piper, Patrick, the ever-doting husband, pays back the money, packs up his practice, and the two lovebirds head east to start over with a clean slate.
Patrick has fallen under the spell of his new bride, who's no ordinary trophy wife. But will her charms prove to be toxic?
Patrick sets up a new practice in Greenwich, Connecticut as a real estate lawyer. And it's not long before his practice is thriving. Once again, he and Amanda are living the high life. Patrick and Amanda's passion for horses only grows with the move to Connecticut.
And here's to victory. Yeah!
They're now owners of 3 prize-winning stallions and fixtures on the racing circuit.
No, sorry, he's not here right now.
I want to talk to my dad now. I haven't seen him since the wedding.
Well, I'll let him know that you called, okay?
Yeah, please do.
All right. Bye.
Patrick's never been happier, but his family and friends are having doubts about his latest wife.
Thank you.
Who was that?
Oh, it's just some pesky telemarketer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Amanda is extremely evasive when asked about her past, and his family complain she's cutting them off from Patrick. Even when his daughter Maggie digs into her past and finds out Amanda has been in trouble for writing a bad check, Patrick refuses to hear anything against her and cuts off ties.
So we've got a new young wife whose sticky fingers put her husband in a dicey position. Patrick had to move his home and practice to save face. This looks like the earmarks of a narcissist who can't see how her actions reflect on anyone else. But now, Amanda is isolating Patrick from family and old friends, making him totally dependent on her for his happiness. And that sounds familiar to me. This is the MO of a con artist.
I don't know what we're gonna do about this.
I know, but see, I was doing some research, and if we go down to this section...
With business booming, Amanda, who is now managing the office, decides to hire herself an assistant.
That gets us out of the issue we had over here, right?
That looks really good on you.
Thank you.
Brooke is pretty, bright, and very eager to learn.
What did he say to you? So I started going on about something, and I said, I'm sorry, but those accounts just aren't yours. Right? It's not going to work that way. So I'm not entirely sure what he was thinking, but...
The two women click instantly, and soon they're inseparable.
Good for you, though, seriously. Wow.
Well, I learned from the best, so...
Usually, Patrick would be up for a little menage a trois fun, but not when the other woman looks like she'd like to cut him out of the equation completely.
Don't you have somewhere else to be?
Here's a guy who turns a blind eye to his wife's embezzlement attempt, but not when somebody's making a play for her affections. Brooke seems as obsessed as he is about Amanda, and worse, Amanda appears to be returning the feelings. Love triangles can be messy. Who's gonna throw down first is anyone's guess.
Did you see it? That was so good.
Oh, great. Right on time, 30 minutes late. And what is she doing here? Amanda, what is she doing here? No.
I invited her.
Get her out. Get her out. I want her out. I want her out.
Tensions reach a boiling point when Brooke shows up unannounced at the biggest horse race of the season.
You're fired. I want her out. You're
I'm
fired.
fired.
The Duchess Cup.
You can't fire me. I don't work for you.
Oh,
So-
I just did.
I'm sorry, you're not my boss.
I just fired you. Amanda.
Patrick?
Fire your little whatever the hell.
Take it easy. Let's all
Fired.
just
Get her
go
out.
to the Derby and have a good time together. How about that?
Oh, I've been having a great time. I've been having a great time.
I'm not leaving, so you can just deal with that, or maybe you don't have to go to the Derby.
With two horses in the running, Patrick has a lot riding on the race.
Come on, let's go.
Run it!
A $1 million purse, to be exact. So for now, he's laying off Brooke, but not the booze.
Win me some money. Win me some money.
2 laps in, and Patrick is barely holding it together.
I don't feel so good.
Come on. Come on, run it. Run it. Run. Come on. No.
He might be a killer in the courtroom, but Patrick ought to watch his back when it comes to competing for a woman's heart.
God, he's so heavy.
So disgusting.
Smells like a tiki bar. Jesus Christ.
Back in the hotel room, things go from bad to worse for Patrick.
Let me get our medicine for our sick patient here.
You don't need an FBI badge to see Amanda's made her choice and that she has a more permanent solution to her Patrick problem. Get rid of him for good.
Time to take your medicine like a good boy.
Patrick tries to beg for his life, but he's paralyzed. Whatever Amanda gave him is powerful.
Why kill Patrick? For the money? And what's Amanda's plan once he's dead? It's going to be tough to explain how he died if there's an autopsy and they find poison in his system. And if she gets rid of the body, there's going to be other questions. Patrick is well known in legal and horse racing circles. People are going to notice if he's missing.
What are you doing? Oh, look at him. Hurry up. Oh my God, we don't have time for this. Well, let's go. He looks ridiculous. Let's go.
After managing to sneak Patrick out of the hotel, they drive to a secluded area so Amanda can get rid of the body.
So the thing about poison is, if you're not an expert like you or me, chances are you don't know exactly how much you'll need or how long it'll take to do the job.
Check his pulse. He's still breathing. Are you kidding me?
This is where Amanda faces a moral crossroads of sorts. Does she bury him alive or wait it out?
Well, let's take him home.
In the end, she opts for a weekend at Patrick's move. Oh, yeah, I know it's not the name of the movie.
Can you go check on him?
Not yet.
It takes another 6 hours before Patrick finally draws his last breath. Only Amanda's problems are far from over.
If you're going to go as far as killing a guy, then you better go all the way and put him 6 feet under.
Fridge.
Not in the fridge. I mean, that might slow decomposition, but it won't stop it altogether. So now they face the risk of A, someone discovering the body when they go to look for Chardonnay, or B, as time goes by, it gets harder to get rid of a rotting corpse without anybody suspecting. And then there's C. Where are they going to put all that wine now?
Cheers.
Yeah.
At first, when Patrick doesn't show up at the office, people assume he's gone on another bender. Amanda and Brooke get to work cleaning out Patrick's accounts and selling off his assets to a tune of $600,000.
I couldn't have done it better myself.
They liquidate everything except Patrick's prize-winning horses. I guess Amanda's got a sentimental streak. Or she just loves horses more than she loves people.
While Patrick is stuffed in the wine fridge, they burn through his money on flashy new cars, wild nights out, and expensive jewelry. Then Brooke moves in. She and Amanda settle into domestic bliss.
I've heard that couples who've been together for a long time start to actually resemble one another. This terrifies my wife. But in this situation, it's just creepy. I'd say master manipulator Amanda is up to something.
As the weeks pass, people start inquiring about Patrick's whereabouts. Amanda and Brooke feed them a web of lies.
These two ladies get real creative. They tell his clients he's out of town, but friends and family, like his daughter, are told he's in rehab in Costa Rica, and he's joined a cult. They're convinced people will buy what they're selling, and they're gonna get away with it. Ladies, I really hate to burst your bubble, but real life isn't a movie. Sooner or later, people are gonna get wise.
Worried sick,
Detective Novak?
Patrick's daughter Maggie reports him missing to the police.
Okay.
Amanda somehow catches wind the police want to talk to her about her missing husband. That's her cue. She needs to get rid of the body. They drive to Atlantic City and check into a hotel. While Brooke waits in the room, Amanda scouts a suitable place to bury Patrick.
I could have told Amanda that getting rid of a body isn't as easy as it looks, but she's got an even bigger problem now. As soon as Patrick is out of the fridge, decomposition speeds up. It's no fun having cops breathing down your neck with a stench like that oozing from your trunk. It smells like about 200 pounds of rotted, maggot-infested meat. That little pine tree under your rearview mirror, it's not gonna cut it. She has to move fast.
The next day, Amanda finally manages to bury Patrick in a shallow grave in the countryside, 100 miles from her home. Then, Amanda drains the firm's cash deposits, over $100,000, and closes down the office. Finally, she sends Brooke a text. But when Brooke arrives to meet up with her girlfriend, Amanda is nowhere to be found.
Amanda's flown the coop with a whole lot of cash. Sure, she can run, but the question is, will she get away with murder?
When Patrick's body is found in a shallow grave, police launch a nationwide manhunt for Amanda. The coroner determines that Patrick died from ingesting large quantities of asapromazine, a common horse tranquilizer.
I've seen my share of murder weapons, but this is a first. There is nothing common about death by horse tranquilizers. Amanda's big problem is she's practically pointed a finger at herself. It's no secret that she and Patrick owned horses, so she had access to what? Horse tranquilizer. That's means. She stole Patrick's money. That's motive. But ironically, if she hadn't put him in the fridge, she might still have gotten away with murder. See, decomposition destroys everything, including most poisons. If she'd buried him pronto, Patrick would have been worm food already, but preserving him meant the poison was still traceable in his organs and bodily fluids. Once the tox screen was run, it's good night, Amanda.
Police dig into Amanda's background and discover she's got a rap sheet of over 100 frauds and theft offenses. And she's got 30 aliases. Among them, Elizabeth, the horse whisperer, Crystal, the real estate agent, and Shanty, the massage therapist. Her real name is Karen.
Anyone with that many aliases gets as much of an adrenaline rush from scamming people as they do stealing money. They don't see the world the way you and I do. They're actors who spin tales to boost their own egos. Getting people to buy into the fantasy is what gets them off. And as soon as they've acquired the information to forge another identity, they're off to rinse and repeat.
Authorities eventually track Amanda to Myrtle Beach, where it all began. She's got a new ID, a new job, and guess what? A new man. Amanda is arrested and gives a full confession.
Amanda's got that gift that all clever con artists have, the ability to reinvent themselves. They instinctively know how to play their mark by becoming exactly what the mark needs them to be. They gain trust using many techniques, but it's all part of a big game.
It all started when Patrick and I started to have marital problems. Brooke came into the picture, and to be honest, I did feel like we had something special.
But why Amanda decided to kill Patrick instead of merely draining him dry? Could be she actually had real feelings for Brooke.
But there was something wrong with her. It wasn't enough for her to just have me divorce him.
But obviously not enough to take the rap all by herself.
I really hope that she gets the help she needs.
Brooke is brought in for questioning.
Okay, Brooke, tell me what you know.
I'm just his assistant. I don't really know what's going on. I'm not really sure.
But denies any involvement in the murder.
She's made a confession, and your name is all over it.
That's not true. If you're gonna pin this on anyone, it's her fault.
Looks like Mini-Me picked up a few tips from her master. The con artist MO is never cop to anything. Their defense is, hey, the mark was just asking to be had.
I'll show them.
If convicted, both the women could face the death penalty. But Amanda doesn't give prosecutors a chance. She kills herself in jail while awaiting trial.
The letter she leaves behind is to her lawyer, instructing him to sue the police for giving her the means to kill herself. She wants a settlement to go to her horses. You gotta hand it to her. Even in death, Amanda can't help herself. For a con artist, failure is not the end. It's just a signal to try a new angle.
Luckily for Brooke, there's no physical evidence tying her directly to the crime. She's sentenced to 10 years for voluntary manslaughter and fraud.
I bet Brooke spent some quality time trying to figure out why Amanda did what she did. I mean, she had all the time in the world to. But when all's said and done, with Amanda dead, no one will ever really know her true motivations. And I kind of suspect that even Amanda herself wasn't too sure. Like the saying goes, though, it's a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma.